Hello and welcome to the Prestige Reef Dork show. Ryan, why are you shaking your head like that?
I hate every second of that intro. I haven't told you this yet. It's the most cringy because I didn't watch it last time because I was doing something.
Yeah.
And I only tuned in like the last sort of 3 seconds and then realized what it was. That was the most cringing 30 seconds I think that I've had in a while.
Well, you're gonna have to get used to it because I absolutely love it.
Do you actually love it?
Absolutely love it. I think it's wicked. I think it's perfect for the stream. So,
well, I guess that's it then.
There you go.
Overruled.
Anyway, overruled, I'm afraid. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I am Alex from Reef Dork HQ, and with me tonight is Ryan from prestigereef.co.uk, the UK's #1 coral selling website.
I'm not even going to comment anymore. Then you'll stop doing it. So,
well, we'll see how that goes.
We don't. There has not been a that we don't know what the #1 is. I like to think that I'm up there, but we don't know who the #1 is. There is no official category. Let's put it that way.
There are only really 2 big websites that I'm aware of: you and Signature Frags. There are. I'm not aware of any others that are proper. Decent. There's lots of little shed sellers who do reasonably well.
I'm saying a lot of people.
No, I'm not putting people down. Like if you're a shed seller, there's nothing wrong with that. That's wicked. And I've met some quality shed sellers.
I suppose the other ones are shops as well as FUP. So it's
oh,
different.
I see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so like Ocean Project sells online. AAC, I think, have started selling online.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but
what's the Abyss in Manchester? They sell fish online, probably corals as well. But I mean, like just dedicated coral seller. Anyway, we'll move on. buy some of Ryan's corals. It's they're good.
Oh, thanks.
Anyway, so first off, actually, so today this is going to be the title. What's the title? Worst aquarium maintenance jobs. This is basically going to be 2 blokes moaning about putting in any kind of effort to help the tank.
And I'm an expert at moaning about effort.
Exactly. But yeah, so we've come up with a list of chores that we hate doing. I've got 9. Ryan, how many have you got?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
so,
8. Oh, got 9.
There we go. So I've got 6 in the category that I genuinely hate. I just can't stand them, and 3 that I just like. Oh, I just can't be bothered with them. But I want to know what chores you guys hate. So let me know in the chat and in the comments after the video, and we'll talk about them if you put them in the chat. There was actually, first off, so someone did a super chat, but they posted it about 3 days ago and it's disappeared since, so I don't know who it was. But thank you very much. I think you said something about, was it the one about your buying corals from me or something? Anyway, if it was you, let me know because it's disappeared. If you post any comment in the chat within for a couple of days before this video goes live, the live stream goes live, YouTube deletes it. But anyway, first things first is member questions. And obviously I've got budget Alexa to read them out. An actual Alexa just piped up. So the first one is this one from BN3 Reefing. Here we go.
Over time, now sitting on 10.3,
hang on.
Went up to 12.1. I do not use Pro Mix, no dosing.
Can you hear that?
So how should
it's hard to understand, but
yeah. We'll do someone else's. So can you hear me at the moment?
I can hear you, yeah.
I can't hear you. That's weird. Hang on, I think my headphones might have gone.
Oh, this is a quality show, as you can see. So, nothing ever goes wrong. Les, the moderator, he actually came to see my corals recently. So he's someone you can trust. I don't know who Reef King is. Apparently, Reef King has put Reef Dork's corals after mine, which is nice.
he's taken the mic.
I don't know who Reef King is. I don't.
Yeah. Did you? How much of that did you hear? Because my headphones died, so I couldn't hear anything.
I wasn't listening, if I'm honest.
All right, so let me. I'll try again, and let's get the BN3 Reefing's question back up. Here we go.
Bring it down using which product?
Right. Try it one more time.
Hey, sexy mofos. I've seen Olk rising over time, now sitting on 10.3, went up to 12.1. I do not use Pro Mix, no dosing. So how should I bring it down? Using which product?
Which product? So he wants to know what product he should use to bring alkalinity down. It went up to 10.3 and as high as 12. I know of a product you can buy that will bring your alkalinity down, and I know you sell it.
I sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Coral will bring it
Corals,
down. Yeah. So I was like, I don't sell any products.
I know. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything you can add. There probably is something you can add, but there's nothing you should add to bring your alk down. It should just be. It'll come down naturally. If it's going up and up, you might be dosing, or you might be. I think he said he wasn't using Pro Mix salt.
Yeah, but so that's what I mean. But if he's not using Pro Mix, he's not dosing. Why is it going up?
I spoke to someone a while ago who had sand. I can't remember what sand it was, but the sand was increasing the alk in his tank.
It's when I think it's when the pH gets too low and then the sand starts to dissolve. Yes, I'm sure that's because I had that once on the very beginning, and that's when your sand all clumps together really tightly.
Yeah, is that like a deep sand? If you've got a deep sand bed or something,
it happened on the Red Sea tank at first, so it wasn't because of that. But in honest answer, I don't know of any products that bring it down.
No, and it's the worst thing in the world would be to add something to try and bring it down. That's messing with chemistry, but it should come down naturally. Yeah. And if you just do water changes, and if it keeps going up after that, there's probably something in your tank that's increasing it. If you're not dosing and you're not doing water changes, big water changes with high alk salt or whatever.
Tropic Thunder will bring it down, according to Les.
Oh man, will it ever? Yeah, it'll grow. Yeah, it'll like triple in size in about an hour. BN3 reefing question number 2. Let's see if this one works properly this time.
Sponges in the sump, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Sponges in the thump. In the sump.
Oh, in the sump. It depends what sponge it is. You get some sponges which are invasive, but some of them aren't. And if they're not, then they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're just filter feeders and they're good for the tank.
It's funny. I interpreted that as putting a physical sponge in the tank.
Oh.
But let's answer both questions. So yeah, I think I
think you're right.
yeah. But okay, so if I have the Red Sea black sponge that keeps there's a bubble trap basically.
Yeah.
But if I'd have taken that on day one, don't think it would have made much difference.
I did take it out on day one.
There you go. And I think if you're going to put a sponge in, I'd want it to be a filter floss thing that you take out and throw away. So I wouldn't bother otherwise, personally. All right. Next up is from James. Let's see if this works.
What up, world's greatest reefer? Sup, Ryan. I love doing tank chores and will tinker for hours until the other half tells me off. What chores do you actually enjoy?
What's up, world's greatest reefer, and sup, Ryan?
I thought it basically said hello, world's greatest reefer, Ryan.
No. Whoa, no. He was introducing both. And so what chores do you actually enjoy? That's a really good question, because I thought, actually, I've not really thought much about chores that I enjoy. Feeding fish, is that a chore?
Some things can be quite therapeutic when you're doing them. And one of the things which is on my list, which I don't like, if I've got headphones in, I'm listening to music, or I'm listening to an audiobook or something like that, it can be a very satisfying therapeutic thing to do, because it starts off dirty, and then it takes about an hour and a half for me to do it, but it comes out clean, and it's quite a it's like an instant thing.
What's that? Sorry.
What is the thing that? Well, I wasn't sure if I could reveal it yet.
Oh, right. Okay. We'll keep it till later in that case.
Okay. But yeah, I find jobs when if you ever really cleaned your tank, like all the sand, the rock work, all the glass, all the sump, all the protein skimmer, all in one go.
No.
It's like it's quite satisfying.
That sounds like a bad idea.
No.
Do everything once, but no, I haven't, and I can't be bothered with that sort of stuff.
It's like scraping every little last bit of algae. You know how there's usually a little bit of algae at the side that just gets left.
Yeah.
Every last bit off. It's quite satisfying.
Yeah. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, okay. All right. Well, we'll think it. We'll talk about. That will be a pervasive subject, and we'll try to talk about stuff we do enjoy throughout the stream. All right. Next up is Tom. What does Tom say? Here we go.
Hi, Slaphead. Hi, Teen Wolf. Have you ever built or bought a copepod hotel? How useful are they for keeping a good population? Or would you just recommend dosing pods every week or so?
I'm assuming I'm Slaphead and you're Teen
Wolf. Yeah, I think so.
No.
But with some of these, by the way, like Tom didn't. He just said he just asked the question. I added in the introductions.
Oh, really?
But with some other people. So James put. What's up, world's greatest reefer, and sup, Ryan. So if you insult us at the start of a question, bonus points, and I'll I'm happy with that. So what was the question? Copepod Hotel. You have built one? I have.
I've never built one. They probably do something, but I've never had one, and I've never needed one or thought about getting one.
No. So I had one in my tank. I think it's still there. In fact, I got a load of RADI tubing, a load of John Guest tubing, and just cut a load of 3-inch lengths off. Cable tied them together and just put it in the sump. But I don't think it does anything because it's in the sump, so they're not going to get eaten anyway. And I think the idea with it really is that you put it in there, and then all the copepods go in there at night or during the day or whatever, and then you put it in your main tank, and then it's food for everything. But there are tons of pods in my. Every time I take my algae scraper off, like it's a magnetic one and it's a tonsy one, so it sinks. When I take it off and the bit sinks there, my copper band and my wrasses are all over there looking for stuff, and you can always see little ones, and they hoover them up.
Oh, you're one of those people, are you? One of the people that leaves the scraper in the tank.
Oh yeah.
No.
I live life on the edge.
This is going to be very divisive, I reckon. But in the comments, everyone's going to go, "I leave it in the tank. I leave it in the tank."
Tell us, do you leave your scraper in the tank or not? I find it weird when people don't. It's like I get if I'd had it rust,
pristine reef tank with all corals and fish and on this thing stuck on the side.
So in that, where is the algae scraper on that tank? Because it is in the tank. You can't see it. That's the thing. I hide them. So mine is always behind at the back of my tank, behind the rockwork.
What? Right next to the birds.
Yeah, that's it. James says I leave it in the tank because Alex does.
There you go. See,
that's the question you want to ask yourself to anything in life. What would Reef Dork do? Basically,
yeah, and then do the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Copepod Hotel, I wouldn't bother with them. And the other part of that question is, would you just dose them every week? No, absolutely not. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a limit to how many can survive, and they'll get there naturally anyway. So I personally wouldn't bother with that one. Would you?
Would I dose them? No, I wouldn't. No.
I mean, you can put them in as food, I suppose, but I wouldn't bother putting them in. I wouldn't even bother doing that.
What is interesting is, depending on what fish you have, they can absolutely decimate a population. Depending, so I remember in the coral farm, I don't know what fish it was that I added. I remember I got lots of wrasse and dragonettes and things like that. But I used to be able to lift a tile up. It's in one of my videos, and there was just thousands of them under one of these big tiles.
Right.
And if you lift it up now, nothing. Something in there that was added. And I've had wrasse in there since day one. So what was it that it could be the dragon pipefish, because they're always going around eating stuff.
Yeah. And they get through a lot, don't they? I think.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But so I have the fish in my tank that eat copepods are the copper band, and even so, I used to think they just eat the amphipods, the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Not the tiny little copepods that you almost can't see. But I've seen him do it loads of times now, and my hawkfish as well will come over and they hoover up the copepods, tiny things, wrasses as well. Probably others in my tank just to my my left here. Oh God, there's a load of dust on my desk. On my tank just to my left here, that I've got damsels, and they would do as well, I suspect. But
one of the maintenance things you don't like doing, obviously, is dusting your desk as well.
No, I know. I hate dusting. The comments are going nuts apparently, and this is because of the algae scraper thing. Michael Peachy takes it out, rinses it, and in fresh water, and then dries it.
Yeah, see, I don't do that. I sort of just take it out and then just leave it somewhere.
Yeah, fair enough. Is it because why do you take it out? Just because you don't like the look of it, or because you don't want it to rust?
No, it isn't that. To be fair, I'm not very sure. I take because I have to clean 19 panels.
Yeah.
19. I think I just gradually go through, clean one, next one, clean the next one, clean the next one, and eventually on the last one I just leave it on the top of the RO barrel usually.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right, and there's
that's what it is. I have to do it manually. So you use a magnet to do it, because all the corals are growing up against the glass. I have to literally put my hand in to do it. So that's why I take it out. If I
one of these,
essentially, yeah, but I just use one of the Tunsy ones.
Oh, really? Just the algae, the wet side of the magnet?
Yeah, that's what I use.
Fair enough.
So otherwise, I probably would leave it in there.
These are brilliant. This is the long version. You can get a small version as well.
Yeah.
And for if algae's really stubborn, what's it called? JBL, something like that. If algae's really stubborn, it's brilliant to get your hand in and do it, but
Yeah.
and they're cheap.
People are now starting to feel sorry for him. Michael said, "Sweet Jesus, I'd die." Yes,
19 panels of glass. Yeah.
I think you can probably work out now what one of my things on my list is going to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll come with it. We got one more member question, so let's do that. And this is from Tyler Evans. Tyler says,
Bonjour. What are the chores for a small refugium with K2 and some live rock? I have no idea how often it needs to be trimmed or whether it should ever be cleaned. For reference, I use a Castle H160 and 1 to 2 grams reservoir for a reefer 170.
It's so much harder listening to that than you just reading them to me.
I love that voice though. Right. So the question was, I'll repeat it because it doesn't really work. What are the chores for a small refugium with chaeto or K2, as she said?
Yeah.
And some live rock. Well, we'll come on to that because that's on my list of things that I don't like.
There you go. And I've never had a refugium, so I don't know.
No, I find that bizarre. Actually, you know what? You're getting a new tank, and this is actually happening.
It is happening on Friday.
Tell the good people of the internet about that.
I have a new tank coming. It is 6 feet long and 2.5 feet wide, and I think it's standard height, which I think is 2 foot. I think is a standard aquarium height. It is for, if you've watched my channel or you've watched stream before, I'll have told you this, but I'm getting a large angelfish, and I'm going to gradually feed it any profit that I make on just gradually feed it. I'm going to gradually put coral with it and see what it will and won't eat. So obviously I have a luxury essentially of having a coral farm. So if you wanted to try this, you would have to go to a shop, buy a frog spawn, come home, put that frog spawn in the tank, and then hope that the angelfish doesn't eat it. Whereas I can go to the coral farm, put it in. If the angelfish shows even the remotest bit of too much affection towards it, I can then put it back in the coral farm. So if people start getting frags soon with bite marks out of them, so it's because with some things I've got like 30 frags of them. So things like So Brian I literally mentioned this. Brian just said in the comments that he just watched my video. I mentioned this in the video. So I've got probably 30 frags of like Stylosinellias, I think is how they're pronounced. Yeah. So if I put one in there and it destroys it, it's not too bad for me because I can always just grow more. Whereas if you have to actually buy that, then you've lost money, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is very true. Yeah, okay. It's an interesting experiment. I'm being goaded, by the way. I've got to go bigger.
I think you should.
I think I should, but I can't.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the excuse me, the tank you're going on the screen, because this is a tank that I would get if I had space. I think you just said it's 6 foot long, 2.5 feet front to back, and 2 feet tall.
Yeah,
that 2.5 feet front to back, man, an aquascape is gonna look awesome in that.
Yeah, well, yes. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never really been that into aquascapes. I don't know why. I don't have the patience for it to glue it all together and put rods and drill the rocks. If someone, I've always sort of just had sort of piles of rocks, and you can balance them so that you have like small ones and then like a big plate. I've got a huge plate, like massive, of it is live rock. It's about that thick. That I kept from one of my original tanks because you just can't get it like that anymore. I know you can get fake rock that looks like that, but it's never. I have run tanks with live rock, with dead rock, and with fake rock. I swear, there's so many more problems with sterile tanks.
Yeah. So will you be going for live rock?
I won't have live rock. I will go for real live rock, which is dead, which I've already got. So it was in my tank before. And then I will seed it with new live rock, but I'm going to put that rock in one of, so when you get Red Sea carbon, they come with black bags. I'm going to put the rock in the bag so no light can get to it, and then put it in the sump. Because then you're not passing on any of these photosynthetic nasty things, hopefully, in theory.
Okay. Interesting. And when is this likely to be wet?
I have plans to plumb it into the coral farm. So it'll be So the tank arrives on Friday. Obviously, once it's here, I'm going to need to know what I need to order with regards to pipe work and stuff like that. And then that, so it'll probably be a couple of weeks, I reckon.
Interesting. Okay.
And what else was I going to say? I can't remember what I was going to say. I'm going to try a roller mat for the first time. I've never had one of those. You sold me one of those. I think totally. You've like, I watched your channel and you're like, oh, these are amazing. So I'm going to.
Oh, you watched my video, did you? Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. God,
actually, I don't think I have watched it. I'm sure you mentioned it to me.
No, it's good. Yeah.
And that's it. And someone asked a minute ago what angelfish I'm going for. I genuinely do not know. It will be a large one like a Koran, or I'm not gonna reduce it to a specific group. It can be any angelfish which isn't classified as a dwarf angel. I will have a dwarf as well, but so if it's like a medium-sized angel, that will do. They all have different Latin names. Yeah, so a Koran is that's fine. But that has a different Latin name to something like that. What's that tiger one? The really expensive one, King. Yeah. So they have different Latin names at the start. So
right. So it's like a centropyge or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So anything that's not a dwarf angel is classified for this. So that doesn't look like an emperor. They're two different. See, it begins with A.
Oh,
whereas the emperor angel begins with P, I think.
Apollo. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but
but
yeah. So it's anything that is not a centropyge, basically.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Moorish idol is the suggestion.
That is not an angel.
No way is a butterfly. It's not a butterfly either.
Is it not a butterfly?
No, isn't it some kind of surgeon fish?
I don't think it's a surgeon, but I think they cut. I think there's something different to all of them. But you are right. I remember thinking it was a butterfly, but something in my mind says it's not.
Xanthus cornutus is its name. I thought it was a surgeon fish. Oh no, hang on. A number of butterfly fishes closely resemble. No, it's not a butterfly fish. Anyway, it's not. I think it is.
I'd be gobsmacked if it was a surgeon fish.
There we go. It's a surgeon fish.
Is it? You're so awful.
No, Wikipedia does not think it's a surgeon fish. I had it in my mind that it was, but whatever it is, I think it's nothing like an angelfish or anyway. Never mind.
Yes, but I have no desire to have a Moorish idol. They're nice, kind of, but not like an angelfish is likely to peck the long dorsal fin as well.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, and we've already established you got terrible taste in fish, so you know.
I knew that was going to come up at some point tonight. So far, the highest likely chance of getting one is an annularis. That is the most likely, just because I've always wanted one. So that's a strong winner. But I might just see one and go, yeah, actually, I want. I might just see one, go, fall in love with a fish, and go, that's it. But what I'm not having a regal. Don't want a regal angel because that's for wimps.
Common.
Yeah, no, they're known for being semi.
Oh, it's too easy. Yeah.
I don't want easy mode. No majestics and no blue faces. Those are my 3 no-go list.
Oh, really? I like the majestic.
Skip forward a week. Look at my new majestic blue face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the regal next to it. All right, fair enough. And are you doing a setup video, Ryan?
I will. Yes. Yeah, I will do a video series. So.
Interesting. I will look forward to that. Cool. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We've been going 25 minutes and we've not actually talked about what we're supposed to be talking about yet. So should we crack on?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
And I did see, by the way, Jason Laraban is in the chat.
I know. I saw.
And he and this is why I just remembered that is because he posted a fact earlier on. Whale sharks are ovoviviparous in that they hatch their eggs in their body and give birth to their young. Give birth to them live. There you go.
I think I knew that already. There are a couple of sharks that do that.
Cool.
There's some sharks where they eat the babies, kill each other in the womb. That's actually true.
Animals, quite literally.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's crack on then with the scribble danger. Oh, Goldflake. Yeah, he doesn't like him though, Atkins.
I don't know. I just don't get it. Actually, a blue line is also is another possibility, which is basically like an annularis that's had its line stretched out.
And one last thing, can we agree that a Moorish idol is a fish? Yes, we can. That's all right.
Yes.
And it is not a whale shark. I don't even need Jason Larawan to confirm that.
True. Yeah.
That's how clever I am. Bull sharks. Oh, they're nasty things. They are as well, like vicious, aggressive sharks. Apparently, that's what they eat their babies. And Moorish is within its own family of Acanthuriformes, which makes more sense. To be fair, there you go.
See, we're learning.
If someone could just say it's a surgeonfish, that would boost my ego. They say, yeah. Right.
After last week, I don't think you need that.
No. This is very true. Anyway, what you got, Ryan? What's number one?
Well, I'm going to go for clean glass. Now, this is very, very specific to me, I think, because for most people, cleaning glass this is what will be interesting. For me, this is going to be from a coral farm perspective as opposed to just a normal fish tank. But as I said, I have 19 panels of glass to clean, and it usually takes between 1.5 and 2 hours to do all of them. And
really,
genuinely, yes, yeah.
So you must do it thoroughly then.
Yeah, I do it properly. I'm not you.
Whoa.
And I I do it by hand as well. So I literally go
19 panels. I've got 4. That's a 1/5, and it takes me about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but remember, I'm going around little bits of coral. I'm going around the egg crate, not the egg crate, the
frag rack.
The frag rack. It's not an easy thing, but this is why I can't just get a magnet and go like this, go along. Right. I would love to do that, and if I built the farm again, that's exactly what I would do.
Is it because the frag rack's too close to the glass then?
Yes. Yeah. I would have the frag racks so that there was like an inch all the way around, and I had the frag rack stuck down to the bottom of the tank so they can't move.
Right.
And then you could use a thing, and it would save so much time. But genuinely, when someone comes to the farm, they usually clean all the glass before, and it usually takes about an hour and a half. I only do it once a week, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's I actually like cleaning glass. I don't like it, but I don't mind it. I'll do it once a week all the time, and I'll usually do it twice a week. I don't mind it. I quite like it. But if I had 19 panels and had to do them inch by inch, I might not be so enthusiastic.
The other thing I have to get up and down on a stool to do it, and also I've got that what is it? You know, the lid. It makes them more difficult to get to because you have to get your arm under.
What's it called? Oh god, I know the same one I've got.
Yeah, they're just the lids, aren't they? Yeah. So, but the nets,
London Aquarium.
Yeah.
So it's got it's effectively like having a Euro brace around the edge.
Yeah, but it would be the same. Yeah, it would be that or the lid or any. Doesn't matter who makes them. There's nothing wrong with the lid.
No.
It's just a pain in the ass that you have to clean underneath it. So genuinely, it takes me about an hour and a half to do it. So, which is basically tedious. That's about 1.5 hours of the 2 hours of work I do in there a week. So
yeah.
You weren't listening then, were you?
I just saw that Acanthuriformes include surgeons. That's probably lying just to make me feel better, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so no, that's I like it. And the other thing I like about it is that it's an instant. Holy shit, my tank now looks awesome.
This was literally what I was just saying to you when I was trying to be cryptic about it. It's like when someone said to you, what do you enjoy? It can be quite therapeutic as well. As I say, if I'm listening to an audio book or if I'm doing that. But if I'm in a rush and someone's coming and I want to make it all look pretty for them, it's like, I'd rather not have to do this.
Well, that's because you're effectively a shop, like your local fish shop almost.
Yeah.
You're not, but that's whenever I look at a local fish shop, I always think someone has got to clean those tanks every day.
Yeah.
And I bet they rotate it with if they've got 10 staff, everyone will take turns, but that must be just tedious.
Well, it'd be even more annoying with a little the little fish tanks. Those
exactly. Yeah. Every now and then though I see a shop that hasn't cleaned their glass. Yeah. And it's just like an instant turn off for me. It's not very often, but when I do see it. That's why
I do it.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah. Because it's just like if you don't care enough to scrape your glass off, what else are you skimping on?
Exactly. But interestingly, for freshwater fish, a fish shop owner told me this ages ago. They put one plec in every single freshwater tank. This shop did it. It was a maidenhead. And then they never had to clean the glass.
No, I had a
Yeah.
Plek. No,
I had a Plek as well. I never
it's-
cleaned the glass either.
Really?
Yeah, it was only a little Plek on a little.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get shot for this by the Plek police. But it was like one of those little 30-litre tanks. I put a Plek in it.
Okay.
Never had to clean it.
That's funny because I from memory, and this was 8 years ago when I had a freshwater tank, maybe 9 years ago, before I discovered good water. It just, but what I remember is it's like snails. That it would suck on the glass, but it wouldn't clean it properly. It's not like it's not like it's scraping. It's not like you give it a credit card and it's like, wee.
You obviously had a lazy one.
Maybe, yeah.
Look, Steve saying it's crap. People are saying not true. Genuinely, I never cleaned the glass of that tank ever. I didn't even own an algae scraper for it.
Oh, Otto Sinkless, they were cool.
Every so often, I did have to, like, if there was like really, really tough algae, I had to clean that off. But just the film, never had to.
Yeah, and Tom said he went to a shop a couple of weeks ago. It was disgusting, so grotty. I was there for 5 minutes. And there'll be times when you get unlucky and like they've run out of time, or whatever, and they just had to open. But there was one shop, and I won't mention the shop, but there was one shop I saw a few months ago, and there was just stuff everywhere, and the glass was dirty. It was just like not good. And just some tidiness and cleanliness is nice, isn't it?
I think that a lot of how do I put this? I think we as customers now expect more from, and they have to clean the glass. Oh, maybe I actually had Otto's as well, so maybe that's what it was. But
oh, right, okay.
As customers, we now expect more from the shops than we used to. I think. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Like we now want to go into like an Apple store kind of shop, which is where everything's pristine with the latest fish. The old school fish shops of just having a tank, and it's not really the same anymore either. Especially as reefers, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm now high maintenance.
But it's customer service as well. I don't message, like there's some shops I have their Facebook or maybe their phone number, and I try, maybe I do sometimes, but I try never to message them outside of work hours, because there've been times before when I've been sat there like 8 o'clock thinking, oh, I need to get this for tomorrow, let's send a message, and they reply straight away. And I'm like, no, don't interrupt your evening. No, but I'm expecting a reply the next day. I'm like, don't interrupt your evening. What are you doing? Because if I'm doing that, there's 100 other people doing it.
Oh, I can assure you there is.
Exactly, yeah. But I've said before, don't reply straight away. I don't expect that. Just wait till the next day. That's fine. And they say people expect it.
No, I think because when people message me, I try to. I'm slightly less now than I used to be because it becomes too much. But you almost want to deal with it immediately because then you can stop thinking about it. Because if I wait until the next day, I'm going to be thinking about it all that time. So I don't know. But I know what you're saying. But I didn't realize you were one of those people. You know,
I'm not. I deliberately try not to.
You message me late all the time.
This is true. Plecostomus is what the Plecs are. Plecos. I call them Plecos as well. But in America, I can't remember if Jace is in America or Canada. Canada. Anyway, we've gone massively off topic.
Glass. That's my first one. Clean the glass. I hate it. Everyone else probably doesn't. You can do a poll if you want, but
I didn't think about how polls would work with this stream.
Well,
but
you could just do agree or disagree. I don't really care if I win or lose this one.
That's a good idea. Poll,
because most people are going to say, clean the glass, not too bad. But it'd be interesting to have their opinion on if we are basically just soft these days.
Yeah, well, I suspect we know the answer to that. All right, so I've posted that up already. So I'm going to move on to my one then. And this is, and you will empathize with this, I suspect. Fragging, but not just any. Generally, fragging corals is a pain in the ass as a general rule. And I have a diamond tip Dremel blade, which is the best thing apart from a bandsaw.
Yeah.
And that makes it much easier for things like LPS. But specifically, fragging Aquapora with massive thick skeletons, or fragging SPS that doesn't base out, like an Aquapora or Hystrix. And so there's two reasons for that. So with a Hystrix and that sort of stuff, when I go to frag it, I'm like, I've got this colony that's like this big,
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I've got a branch that would look awesome, and make a nice little frag, and it will trim it back a bit, bonsai it, and I go like that, and the whole bloody coral comes off, or 90% of it. I did that with my Caliendrum, my nice toxic green Hystrix. I did that so many times where I'd just be like, I just want to that can't be there. I'll just knock it off, and half the colony would come off, and I'm like, oh.
Are you closing the bone cutters, or are you twisting?
I try to grip and then twist.
Yeah, twisting.
Well, sometimes I do that, but most of the time I try to grip and twist. But so especially with Hystrix, but with Asterina Aquapora, like I fragged my strawberry shortcake last week, and it's a tabling acro. And some of it came off nice and easy. I just stuck the grippers in, or whatever, the coral cutters in, twisted it, job done. But then when you get beyond the outer shell, the base is like that thick. No joke. It's so I was trying to twist it,
crunch your way through,
and it just wasn't happening. I had to stop in the end.
Yeah.
But God, and some corals, some SPS corals, barley green slime is like that as well. It's so thick. That fragging it is just a nightmare.
When you start your online coral store, you can have it Reef Dork fragged with love, because of how because that was clearly a very delicate operation as you're trying to crunch through it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just with a hammer and chisel. I have done that before, but literally using a hammer and chisel when I take the rock out of the tank and then just like bang, bang. That's really good.
Well, look, I know it works. Do you know what I've done? I've literally just dropped things sometimes on the
floor, on the rock, or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Just if it's something, I can't break through for whatever reason. I don't do it very often. I can't remember what I actually did it with. Is that a yes or no? Oh no. So people don't mind cleaning the glass. So there you go. Well,
the thing is with.
You should change it to, if you had 19 panels of glass, it was going to take you an hour and a half. Would you hate doing it?
I suspect people would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, do I smell strawberry shortcake? Yeah, Abbas actually it was for you, of course. So Abbas is giving me a frag of glitter on it, and in return, I'm giving him a nice big chunk of strawberry shortcake. I don't frag my shortcake very often because it's such a nice coral. I don't like to trim it. I just like to let it grow.
Yeah.
But every now and then, I do it, and I've ended up with half a dozen frags. Can you slow down the dissolving of silicon in the saltwater tank?
How old is your tank?
Yeah, that's if silicon has dissolved, it'll deteriorate, I suppose, over time. I don't know if it'll dissolve. Maybe that's what he means. But
you sure it's not been like you've been gradually scraping it away?
I don't think there's any. I'm not aware of anything you can do. But I've never had a tank. The longest I've had a single tank running is 5 years. So it's not like I've had one for 20 years or whatever. And I don't know. Yeah. Silicon doesn't dissolve. I don't think he literally means dissolve. I think he means like degrade or whatever. Yeah, or weaken. Anyway, well, nothing that I'm aware of, I'm afraid. So yeah, fragging corals. Do you hate fragging corals? The vote so far is at 62% yes. You frag you're literally a professional fragger.
Yes.
Do you hate it or do you not mind it?
It depends what you're doing. It sounds so weird. It depends. Some corals are definitely more interesting to frag than others. I quite enjoy fragging things that are like favias or goniastrias, where you're going, like you have to follow the lines to get good frags from them.
Yeah, okay. You've done a video on that with an A-cam before, where you've gone in between all the polyps and that. Yeah.
And I think one of my first videos I put out with the coral farm was a big dragon soul favia that was like that. So
something like that. Actually, that looks like
that's not similar, but
I searched for goniastria. That looks like a dragon soul favia to me, but I don't really know what they look like.
No, they got yellow in them, the dragon souls.
Okay. But yeah, so when you have to like put it under your bandsaw and like go left a bit, then right a bit.
I don't know. It's just I have to be in the mood for fragging. And you go through stages where you're in the mood for doing different things. So the other day, I actually quite enjoyed fragging zoas. But this time, because you need to use the right tools to frag corals, basically. And I frag coral zoas before using the saw, and it made me ill, and then it made me apprehensive to do it anymore. Now, most people don't frag zoas with a saw, So how
No.
does everyone else do it? And that's why I started doing it like everyone else.
Do you know, so how does everyone else do it? How do you frag them now?
I know you just like put your hand in, grab them, rip them up off the thing, stick them wherever you want. Yeah, that's what you do. So I had a load that were growing on the racks. So I just very carefully with a knife just went underneath, and I wasn't going under the zoas. I was going under the coralline algae that they'd grown on. So
Right. Okay.
that was like breaking off in chunks, and then I could put those down.
That's good.
So what do I not like fragging? Boring things. Montipora is boring.
It's hard to frag Monty as well, because like, if you've got a plating Monty, you'll be like, I want to snap it here, and it will snap in 10 places.
Well, I obviously have a saw, but I've noticed with the saw, you have a far lower success rate with Monties than if you just get bone cast and cut 'em. I don't know why, you just do.
Well, as in they die if you bandsaw them.
Yes.
Oh, really?
But not all of them. You might. So if I use bone cutters and make 10 frags, I'll get 10 survive. If I use a saw, I might get 3 that die. Don't know why.
That's really funny. Is it something? Have you cleaned the blade before? Have you just like fragged an acan or something and it's gooping onto the Monty?
No, I don't think so. I'm just not sure. There is one, the Dragon Rider Montipora I've got as well. Hates being fragged. It hates it. There's some Monties you can do anything to it. You can get a hammer, smash it up, and every tiny bit will grow back.
Yeah.
With the Dragon Rider, you have to frag it into quite big chunks.
That's not a bad shout. Heat from the blade,
did wonder that.
Okay. But so it doesn't like it. It will just die, the Dragon Rider, will it?
The Dragon Rider definitely doesn't like it. It doesn't like a saw or bone cutters.
That's what I was thinking. Something because sorry.
I mean, that is true. Also, could be it. The infection.
And so you talked about fragging softies earlier. You don't like fragging softies because mushrooms, for example, that you've just got to let them grip onto a rock or whatever, haven't you?
Yeah, and there's a lot of flow in the tanks, and they float around, and that's what I'm starting to get into soft corals again more. I've got loads of people want to have some. I've actually got a really, really amazing toadstool. Think of like an ultra green torch. I have a toadstool that's that color.
Okay.
It's like insane, and you're like, okay, yeah, sure. No, it is actually that color. It's actually that color. I'm
due a visit, so I'll come down and see it sometime.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome. So.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? Oh, so with zoas. So what I try to do is, like, ideally, if they're on a rock that I can take out, that's wicked. But I find that some of them are just like they're slightly loose, so they start to come loose. And with that, if you just grab them gently and pull them, they come off. Exactly, and it's just like it all comes away great. If you're not careful though, you grab one that's stuck on, and then you squeeze it, and it's releasing jizz into the water or whatever it is,
and then you lick your fingers afterwards.
Exactly, yeah, it's a bad idea. Okay, and so do people hate fragging? 60% yes, or 58% yes, 42% no.
I'm surprised that people hate fragging because most people only do it on a very, very small scale.
This is true, and actually, it's only the two that I talked about particularly. I don't mind fragging most corals. Like if I'm using my Dremel, I've just fragged up a favia, fascination favia, and that was easy. It was just like nice and easy.
Yeah.
But with this thick branch aquapora, man, it's just and the trouble is if you're not careful, you're doing this in your tank and then you're smashing everything else up and I state it.
No, I know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, again, it's one of those things where if you're in the mood, it can be quite therapeutic for me to do. Yeah. But remember, I'm staying there for hours sometimes. I'm not getting my Dremel out, doing one little coral, and then that's it. I'm literally there for 2 or 3 hours as it's like spraying me with coral slime and water and stuff like that. So it can be quite exhausting when you do it intensely.
Yeah, okay. And actually, so Les has just asked what Dremel blade I use. I use the Dremel Easy Speed Click Diamond. It's quite expensive, 12 quid, and then they wear out. But it's really thin. Most of the Dremel discs are quite thick. This is really, really thin. It's like less than a millimeter thick. And will either of you be at Reefer Palooza? I won't. You might, though. Maybe.
You never know with me. Sometimes I literally book a couple of days before I go.
Yeah.
But so I have aspirations of going to one of them, but I don't know which one I would go to. Probably Florida because it's warm. But then that's pretty soon, so maybe not. I've only just been there, haven't I?
Yeah, this is true. So maybe not.
Yeah.
I've got a 6-inch grinder. That sounds sexual to me. Might be a bit much, but yeah, it probably is a bit much. All right. Well, we've 45 minutes and we've done 2.
That's good because we can blast through the rest of them as quickly or slowly as we want, can't we?
Let's blast through. What's your next one?
Any sort of carrying barrels, any of them, because like again, this is a matter of perspective. Because the barrels I've always used were always 25 to 30 liters, so that's 25 to 30 kilos.
Yeah.
So if you're carrying those around, and I'm carrying them from the farm into the house, it's not, and you're doing 6 of them sometimes. That's not a small amount. If you're carrying just one and it's like 12 liters, then it's not too bad.
But there's always water on the barrel, so you'll put it down on your carpet or your floor, or whatever, and
dripping around. So the seals go on them sometimes after a period of time. So then they're like, I knew Les was going to say that. I was going to get there before you, Les. I was going to say, have you seen my bicep?
Hey.
I can't be lifting those sorts of barrels. But yeah, so I think the coral farm spoilt me because it then ruined my experience of having a tank, because I went back to doing normal water changes and I don't want that anymore. So the new tank is going to be plumbed into the coral farm somehow. We're not sure how yet, but it's going to be plumbed in.
Yeah, so is it? Yeah, it's just everything with lugging barrels around. 80% of people hate lugging barrels so far.
Yeah,
it's
not good for you. It can't be good for your back because no one is doing it properly.
No, you just, and that was one of the things one of the main reasons you should get an RADI filter is to stop yourself having to go to your local fish shop every weekend and lug barrels around and put them in your car and get water on your seats and.
Do you lift the barrel up? I know you don't, but to pour it into the top of the tank.
So when I do water changes on this tank, which 150 litre tank, 40 gallon, I lift up a salt bucket and pour it in, which is about 20 litres.
That'd be 20 litres, yeah. But I mean, look at you. You're not designed to be lifting 20 kilos, are you?
I'm built like an accountant.
So, but it just, there'll be plenty of people that are lifting up 25 kilo 25 litres barrels, pour it in the top of their tank, resting it on the edge of the tank, which I just think that can't be good for the tank.
And the barrels as well. So I've discovered anti-glug barrels recently, but before then, you do that, it's like it gushes out everywhere, and it's just like this shower of water all over your house.
I had the same barrels probably for 10 years, and I used to throw them around. I used to like properly throw them around, and once I lifted up and threw it, not throw it, but like where you're like, and it went 25 kilos, 25 liters of water, just basically just went boom. Luckily, it was on the driveway.
Okay.
Imagine if that was in the house.
5 gallon buckets. 5 gallons is 25 liters is about 6 gallons, I think. But basically, I'm a lifter, so I just see it as a farmer's carry. Is that like on the shoulder or something? Is that a fireman's carry? But yeah, we're basically weedy little dweebs. So.
Great.
But I there are other dweebs in the chat because 84% of people hate it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end the.
I think that's what people need to think. If that should be, I should do a video on this, or you should steal my idea and do a video on this. When starting a new tank, put it somewhere. You can make it so you don't have to lift any water.
This is if I was going to make a video about what I would do if I started again, it would be boring things like that are actually super important. Because when you click a video like that, you want it to be like, oh, get this light, it'll double your coral growth or whatever. But the most useful things would be boring things like that, practical things that you have to think, I'm going to be doing this every week for 3 years. I've got to make it easy for myself. So,
well, there you go. I'm going to claim this now. Boring things to do when setting up a tank. That's the video. Exactly. That's the title of the video I'm going to make.
No one's going to click on it, but it'll be good.
I don't care about those sorts of things.
No, it's true. All right, my next one then. Harvesting chaeto algae. So you've never had a refugium, so this will be foreign to you.
Yeah.
But just, oh man, my refugium And you can actually, refugiums are really good at controlling nitrate in that you can control nitrates quite accurately. So if you pull out a load of algae from your refugium, your nitrates will go up.
Yeah.
If you let it grow out long, your nitrates will come down. So if you do it little and often, it'll keep it relatively stable. So actually quite an accurate tool, kind of, in a roundabout way. But I get lazy with it, of course. And so I'll go like a month between harvesting algae, probably 2 or 3 months a lot of the time. And then you've just got to put out these massive chunks of algae. And it's like, you know what chaeto looks like.
It's like
as spirally, wiry. And as you pull it out, it just drips everywhere.
That's what I was
and there's always a load of crud in it. So there's like dusty silt or whatever that gets everywhere. It goes through your turn pump. It goes all over. Your tank looks dusty. I just hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I've actually recently completely closed down my refugium, partly because of that.
You should have put a tank, like build it so it's really big, and then put a really small tang in there, but never feed it.
Yeah. So it's like self-regulates.
Yeah. Although if you think about it, the tang then just pooping it back into the tank. So there's no.
Yeah.
But is it? They must have an accumulative effect.
As in if you leave it for ages without harvesting, it gets more and more effective at putting out nitrates. Yeah, completely.
Yeah. I just wondered, could that not be? Can the refugium make your nitrates and phosphate bottom out? So
in theory, it should self-regulate, because if it pulls out all the nitrates, it can't live.
It dies.
So I think that shouldn't happen, but that has, and I think that will only really happen if you're using things like carbon dosing.
Yeah.
But it'll contribute to it. But if you just had an algae refugium, it shouldn't bottom it out in theory, but in practice, it probably will. It'll take up all the excess nutrients at least.
Yeah.
But the only time I've had it proper, my nitrate and phosphate bottom out completely, was carbon dosing. That's no joke.
That's easy to do if you don't know what you're doing and you put it.
Yeah. But I'm gonna. I mean, there's not much else to say on that because you don't really know anything about refugiums.
No.
So
I only know what I dealt with, but I might get you to come set up my new tank. You'll be a refugium calc. Where's the tank calc?
There would be no refugium, but you would have calc.
Would there be no angelfish as well?
No, there'd be a regal angel.
You were being awful the other day because Alex is genuinely encouraging me not to get one angelfish, but to get multiple angelfish and multiple butterflies to guarantee the failure of this tank.
See, when you said I'm setting up an angelfish tank, I didn't think you meant an angelfish. I thought you meant a tank for angelfish. So you've sold me the dream, and now I'm like, what the hell?
No, I can't have a tank with loads of angelfish. Not I know your mate has a tank with loads of angelfish in it, but it's a much bigger tank.
Reef, yeah. As he texted me, is that him? No, it's not him. Yeah, this is true. And he found it even ate chalices and stuff. They didn't tend to eat SPS, although they probably did. It's just that he's got millions of them, so it doesn't matter.
I think that SPS is probably going to be the highest. I've seen a big what are they called? They're not moon angels, but I can't remember what they're called. But they're like a big angelfish, like a Koran, but a big yellow stripe in the middle of them. I've seen those eating Montipora.
Oh, really? I think it might be this moon angel.
Oh yeah, that is what it is. Yeah. I've seen those eating Montipora. It was at London Zoo or something. Les says he'll help if there's a beer. Are you helping? Are you talking about coming to move the tank? Because if you want to come move the tank, I'll get you a beer. I can assure you. I'm gonna need all the help I can get on Saturday. So
yeah, I'm staying well clear of that.
Yeah. Alex said to me earlier when I told him that I'm gonna need people to help move the tank that you'll find out who your true friends are, and he's not coming.
No, basically.
I wouldn't want your noodle arms anyway.
No, exactly. You don't. Yeah, if you want lifting done, you don't want me. And so, yeah, this is the other thing. When you free up chaeto from you when you harvest it, strands escape and they get stuck in your skimmer, and then it starts going and they get stuck in your turn pump, and it's like, oh god, it's just man.
Well, it looks like Les is signing up. He says
whatever. I said biz.
Do you know how many people I've said I've got this new tank coming, and they've gone, I'll come help you. I thought to myself, that's like they could literally hurt your back for the rest of your life. But you're like, yeah, I'll come.
It's because
I
you're
think it's some sort of party.
It's because you're a celebrity, Ryan. So
No, it's because there's plenty of nice people out there.
yeah, okay. PJ bottomed out his nitrates with a Fuge. I love carbon dosing. Just go slow and gentle. Yeah, slow and gentle is the answer. So you can bottom out nitrates and phosphates with a Fuge, but I think it's less likely to be as severe as carbon dosing, I guess is what I'm saying. Did I miss the bicep flex? No, you didn't, Thomas the cat. He's about to do it.
Oh, about when your version of about to is might be different to mine.
We're just hoping for coral and a glimpse of them biceps. That's why people are coming. They want to see the gun show.
True.
So
true.
All right.
I have like 60 people at my house on Saturday. Everyone's watched the live stream.
Biceps. It turns out I'm just a massive softie because 65% of people don't care about harvesting chaeto. And just to clarify, and I'm just waiting for the comment to pop up on my software. When you say carbon dosing, is that running it in a bag, not activated carbon? Activated carbon is fine. That just pulls out pollutant. That just makes your water clearer. I'm talking about liquid carbon. So vodka, vinegar, tropic marin, what's it called? No pox, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Bactate balance and LMEMP, all that sort of stuff.
Can we do a poll? I want to do the honourable mention one, and this is before we talk about it. Okay. So I want a poll: cleaning the protein skimmer. Yeah, whatever you were doing before, yes or no, or however you worded it.
Do you hate cleaning your skimmer?
This is not my one, but Alex and I both had an opinion on this, and I think we were both intrigued by our opinion.
All right, well, let's see what people say, because I didn't think you'd say the same as me, but you did.
Yeah.
And so we'll see if everybody else says the same thing as well. It's a 4-hour drive. Wow.
Nice. James is coming.
Technically, I bottom myself out every other weekend in that case. That's vodka.
Okay, I'm not sure what that meant. I was like, right. Shall I go for the next one?
So PJ's. Oh, okay. Skimmer cup or body? He's clarifying the question.
Cup, because that's something you do all the time. Whereas bodies, that you have to get it out, and you do it like once every 5 years. Michael
Peachy vodka doses himself. Okay, so do you want to? So we can probably finish that poll there. Do you want to know what they said?
Yes, I'm interested.
So I'm going to end it there. 61% of people don't like cleaning their skimmers.
Yeah, interesting. So,
and that was so. Go on, reveal why you wanted to.
Well, we're obviously both just filthy people because we don't care.
But yeah, it's a weird one. I don't mind doing it at all.
No, again, that's one of those things which I actually find quite therapeutic. Now, I have to clean my skimmer probably once a month because it automatically drains.
Do you clean it with a brush or a sponge?
No, I have a sponge.
I clean it with my hands. People find that disgusting.
No, you don't.
I do. I just run the tap. I run the tap and then wipe my finger around the inside of the skimmer cup.
Oh God, there's something wrong with you.
And then just like, obviously, there's like a load of lump of brown.
Does Laura know this?
Yeah. She sees it all the time. Yeah.
Oh, good. Nice.
Is that weird? Does anyone else do that? Do you guys do it?
I have rubber gloves on because I have rubber gloves for everything I do in the coral farm usually, and I will use a sponge. And there's something so satisfying. The thicker the sludge, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And but then you're missing out by not getting on your fingers. Because when you've got this massive lump, you just go, oh mate, it's wicked. It is a bit weird, but yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but we're not going to do a poll, but people in the comment section just tell him how odd he is.
It's getting weirder.
Oh. No.
It's a brush, but the trouble is, I do have I've got a brush that I've labeled fish crap brush, and the trouble if you use that for a skimmer, all the crap gets stuck in the bristles.
Well,
so
that's why
my finger's perfect.
Either use not your finger. No, don't use your finger. Kitchen towel. You can use one sheet of kitchen towel and take the majority of it off. Do you clean it under a tap?
Do you hate the planet, Ryan? You're burning the Earth resources to stop.
No, I recycle them after that.
Do I what was the question?
do you well, I can't remember what I said. What did I say? Oh, do you put water on it?
Yeah,
You run under the tap?
I have the tap running gently and
Yeah.
then finger in the poo.
Oh, this is too much. I didn't know that. The thing that I don't notice is I don't really notice the smell. I don't think it's that bad, the smell, but I have smelled some people's skimmers. I'm like, why are you feeding your fish? It stinks. But mine, maybe you just don't smell your own.
Yeah. Or you like your own, yeah. I don't know. But I know do you at least wear gloves? No, don't we? Why are you wearing gloves?
With fingers as well? What is wrong with these people?
Oh god, I was going to ask a really dodgy question then, but I'm not going to. But yeah, it's easy with your hand. See, it is. This is it.
Yes, but use kitchen towel. Don't just put your finger on it.
Start a poll. Do you clean?
This is going to be 90%.
Skimmer cup with your bare hands. Yes or no? I want to see this because I only found out it was weird a month or so ago. Well, I mentioned it. Maybe it was to you. So it was to someone, and they were like, "What?" I was like, "Does not everyone do that?" Or I put it on Instagram, I think, and someone commented, and I was like, "What?"
That is odd. How have you only just like when did your own brain, without anyone else commenting or saying anything, not go, "Yep, this is weird"? Kitchen down, Mr. Fancy.
Mr. Fancy
Pants.
All made of money.
Yes.
Everyone tells me skimmate smells bad, but it doesn't. It's the same with
I know.
Filter rolls. So people always say, "Oh, does it stink?" And it's like, no, it doesn't. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't, and people find it hard to believe. But like until you can get right up close to it and be like, and it still doesn't smell. If skimmer cups, skimmer cups do smell sometimes, and there's a little stream that runs past my house like just up the road, and there's one point where it goes a bit stagnant. And it smells a bit pooey around there, and I always joke that that's what my skimmer cup smells like, because a bad smell sometimes does, but it never makes my living room smell unless I've gone nose blind.
Nice. No, well, maybe that is what it is. Maybe we're all used to it. So
skimmate smells good.
I use my bare hands when I plan on shaking with my enemy.
Yeah, actually not a bad idea.
I think they're going to notice if you've got brown hands.
Yeah, well, they'll notice when they've got brown hands after they've shaken. 50-50. Yes.
No, it's not.
Yeah, 65 votes. 49% do use their bare hands. It's just going, but 52% don't. There you go. Oh, hang on. It's hiding a comment.
It gets all look. You can wash your hands, but it gets all in your little fingerprints and under your nails and everything.
This is disgusting. Where's the chat? Where's the comment? So there's a comment, Steve Webb. I have approved it. YouTube blocked it. But it's not showing up yet. So I don't know if YouTube is going to do. Sometimes, by the way, sometimes YouTube does this funny thing where it'll block a comment, and then you can go in and find your blocked comments, and it will say show hidden comments. And it's like, and if it says show hidden comments, that means someone said something really nasty. And I don't look there very often, but every now and then I do, and I approve them more often than not, because most of the time it's just someone say they're just using a swear word or whatever. But when I approve them, it doesn't always, YouTube doesn't always let me approve them. So I did one today. Someone commented on a video. I approved the comment, and YouTube didn't put it on. So I was like, so if you've posted something and you think Alex is just being a snowflake, I'm not. Anyway,
what was the comment that you approved? Because you built it up now. I need to know what it said.
It was about, so I did a video on the Red Sea skimmer, the new Red Sea skimmer that's coming with a DC pump, and no one's seen it. They've not released them for the public yet. It was just, I sat down with Red Sea, talked to them about it, and I said, "Oh, there's a few things they didn't talk about in their video that I wanted to talk about." And he said he was quite aggressive, and he swore, but he was just saying, "Why don't you tell people that these skimmers are really not noisy? You've got to tell people it's not fair, it's not right. You know, you're an influencer, all this sort of stuff." And it's like, I've never seen it, I've never heard it. I don't know if it's noisy or not. And it's a DC skimmer, so it probably is not. If the last one was, this probably isn't. And I always talk about it here.
Oh, is that what the comment was?
Yeah. But it was phrased in quite an aggressive manner, just because, like, you know, you're typing and you're pissed off sometimes, and there was a swear word in there.
Yeah.
But I approved that because I don't care. You say whatever you want. And YouTube didn't put it on the video.
I must not have seen that video.
Oh well. Anyway, bare finger and rub nose. Oh no, bare finger, rub and rinse. Sorry, exactly. No. That's what normal people do.
No.
but yeah, and so I show the comments unless it's really bad. Yeah, and that's the way you say whatever you want, unless it's awful, like horrific. Anyway, I'm going to end the poll. Basically 50-50. 44% are like me and do it bare hands.
Weird. I think Ryan meant my comment about the LFS guy. I don't know what that means, Steve, I'm afraid. So I can assure you I didn't mean that unless there's another Ryan.
No. Yeah, that was it. So there was a comment. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's gone, mate.
Yeah, that is what I wanted. I wanted to know what that one was.
That one. Yeah. So he said something like, oh, it's disappeared. It said something like his boss or someone at a local fish shop ate lunch after cleaning the skimmer and got the 2 bob bits.
Nice. Nice.
So anyway, that's I've gone massively off topic for a bit.
Do you reckon a video would go viral if you empty the skimmer cup into a shot glass and then drank it?
You could do that with just like hot chocolate or whatever. And
I have wondered if that is something that, but is there a way of actually, I mean, it would look like skimmy.
Have you heard of the skimmer cup challenge?
No.
So you get your skimmer cup.
You're just inventing this now.
No. This is a thing. This was on Ultimate Reef ages ago, and you put it. It depends on you living with your missus, but you put it in certain places around the house and wait for her to find it. So people put it like in the fridge, in their like underwear drawer.
Oh,
there's this whole thread about
my skimmer cup's massive. It's like this.
Oh, but that makes it even funnier. But it was very, very funny. Anyway.
No, I didn't see that.
All right. Anyway, we'll move on. So that's what was your? I can't remember what you would. That was a pre.
I did the pro. Yeah, I know, but it was an honourable mention, wasn't it? I am thoroughly enjoying this live stream. Just so you know, I think that it's for some reason it's like a more fun one. Right. This is the one. This topic for this stream was actually my idea, wasn't it? And this was the one that gave me this idea because I was sitting here doing this.
Yeah.
I know. At the time, and I sent you a message going, I hate doing this. And then I'm pretty sure you told me I was a baby or something because you're like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I hate changing the filters and the DI resin on my what is it?
RADI filter.
Oh, yes, yeah. I hate it. I hate undoing them. I hate putting it back on because then sometimes they're not back on properly and they leak. The canisters are easy, that's not a problem, but the DI resin particularly is time consuming. It's not easy to get the resin into the like the end of each of the capsules.
Right.
The capsules don't close up properly because they've got DI resin all wrapped around the threads of them. It gets everywhere. That stuff gets everywhere. So I'm quite passionate. If someone said to me, what is your least favorite job of the coral farm, that would be it.
DI resin.
Yeah, I hate doing it.
I got no problem. DI resin, I got no problem with whatsoever. I have a funnel that fits perfectly in the DI resin top thing, so I always get it. It doesn't tend to go everywhere. The bees do. They're difficult to wipe off the surface because they just stick.
Yeah.
But I don't mind DI resin. But on my list was changing RADI filters generally, because if I change a membrane or the pre-filter or the carbon block, water's going everywhere. There's going to be, I'll have forgotten to turn off the tap or it'll just have a load of water in it and I won't have drained it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and mine's in a cupboard that's a little bit difficult to access. So I have to I know something bad is going to happen. So I get a towel and put it down to anticipate it.
Yeah.
And then just and they're really tight. And then when you go to put them back on, you can't get it to line up properly. And because they're solid plastic, they're not see-through. You can't see if you've got it in the right place. So you think,
yeah. It's interesting because you don't like the filters, but for me, I don't like the other thing more. But what I've realized from doing this stream is that the reason you don't like it is because you're a baby. The reason you don't like it is because yours is in an awkward position under your sink, isn't it? Whereas mine's high up in the coral farm on the wall. So it's easy for me to get to. So that's why it's not about making it awkward or anything. And what I've learned is so many of these problems can be solved so that they're not problems if you put a little bit of thought into it at the beginning.
For sure.
Then it can be a much more enjoyable hobby.
Space is the biggest issue. So for me, I cannot. I've thought about that a lot. I've thought how I would do it differently, but I do not have the space. It cannot be anywhere else. I have a small cupboard for it, and I can't fix that problem.
Can't you put it outside?
No, I'd love to put it outside, but it's it'll freeze over the winter, and it happens all the time. And you can insulate it, but it's a pain in the ass. And I've got a little on the back of my house. We've got a boiler room, so there's a like a little room, a brick room for the boiler, and I could put it in there because that tends to stay warm. But even then, it's just a pain in the ass. Ideally I'd have a garage attached to the house,
with a coral farm in it.
Yeah, exactly. That would be heated. Yeah, it's true. But no, it's just. But yeah, but you don't. It's like the beads that you don't like, the DI resin beads.
Yeah, they get everywhere. I'm quite funny about touching things. I've noticed. I wear gloves when I do the salt. I wear gloves when I'm doing. Not because I need to. I don't like the feeling of it on my hands.
Right.
So maybe I'm the big baby. But I was
going to say
no. I'm the same with everything. For example, I like dogs. I don't mind dogs or anything like that. But I don't like stroking them. I don't like touching them because I then have to go and wash my hands after them. So I'll stroke them, but I'm like, oh god, I've got to go wash my hands now. And people in the comments are going to go, wow, this man is weird, but it's just who I am.
What about crisps?
No, that's fine. My granddad was the same. Okay. Apparently, my granddad was exactly the same.
Huh. So it's genetic. You're a genetic baby.
I've inherited weirdoism from my granddad, apparently.
That is the way I'm reading this is Ryan. As in, mate. DI resin is caustic. Really?
Well, I actually got DI resin in my eye once. Just one bead rolling around.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
Rubbing your face on the resin, all right.
Just one bead like rolling around. And I just no. Did you do a poll for this? Because I think there seems to be a lot of hate in the comments for.
It's 50-50.
Is it
so far? Weirdoism. It's 50-50, and I'm kind of with you. So because the it's just a fact. Just water goes everywhere. Actually, in the cupboard that I've got my RDI filter in, there's there's the back of a plug socket that's exposed. And I'm really paranoid about water pissing everywhere and going on the electrics and shorting the house and killing me. So
the feed to the coral room froze the other day and it burst. The connection burst basically.
Right.
And when it defrosted, I walked out. I was like, "Oh look, there's water just shooting across the garden." I had no idea what it was. But I literally could just push them back together and it was fine.
Right, okay.
But I did have one RDI unit that was outside that did freeze. Only one, and I'd had it for years. I've done loads of them over the years. Yep. And it broke one of the plastic containers. But other than that, it was never a problem.
Right, okay. Interesting. Slightly disappointing. Okay, right. So
slightly disappointing.
I've sold a lens on eBay and it was looking like it was going to go for a load and it's kind of backed off. It's still done right. Anyway, right. I'm going to end that poll. It's
good to know you're concentrating on us, on this. What
I am. I went to open a tab to show the good people of the internet something and I was like, let's just have a quick look here because it popped up in an email. Anyway, 45% do hate changing RDI filters. 55% do not.
How those people have not changed enough. Remember, again, I have to do this a lot more than most people. So how often? When was the last time you changed your DI resin?
Quite often, actually, relatively recently. Someone asked.
Is it every 2 weeks? Because if it's not every 2 weeks,
no, fair enough. So you get through a lot. This guy, Gary says, my resin not lasting long, maybe 2 months. Should I be doing something different? Well, maybe other than turning the tap off and leave until next use. So 2 months. It depends on how much water you're making. 2 months doesn't really mean anything, but 2 months is probably about right. That's probably how often I change mine. But if you find yourself changing it frequently, because at the moment mine lasts ages because I've recently changed my membranes and my other filters, and you're supposed to change your there's no hard and fast rule, but basically if you want an easy guide, change your membranes every 12 months and your carbon blocks and pre-filters every 6 months. And if you could change your pre-filters even more frequently than that, then do, because they're dirt cheap. But if you change your membrane normally your DR resin lasts a lot longer. And if you haven't got a booster pump, get a booster pump because it will last longer then as well, and it will actually make water at a quick enough pace to use.
Yeah, the booster pump definitely makes a massive difference for me.
So good.
Yeah.
What TDS does everyone have going into their units? Oh, that's a good question. Tell us what TDS. What do you have TDS going in your tap water? Mine's about 350 in Surrey.
I don't know what it is going in. I know what it is coming out of the membrane.
About 10 or 15 out of the membrane.
No, it must be what's going in. I think it's like 280. Yeah, it must be what's going into it. It can't be coming out of the membrane at 280. And then that's why I'm getting through so much DI resin.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. We've got loads of answers here. 394-ish, 212 in West Bromwich. Quite nice.
You wait, some Scottish person is going to come up and go,
I know.
It goes in at like 3 and comes out at 1.
Comes out at -10.
Yeah.
65, Germany traveller. I think he's in Switzerland.
Oh, UKM 120. Where do you live? Is it Scotland?
80 in Brum. Where's UKM? Oh, 40 to 60. That's good. Yeah, Lake District or somewhere that'll be. Tap water over 500 in Bristol. 66 in Somerset.
How come we have such rubbish water here compared to everyone else?
Yeah, we don't talk about Scotland at the moment. Why not? Oh, this is a rugby thing. There was the Six Nations. They spanked England. Good old Sussex by the Sea, 510. That's basically salt water.
Yeah.
65, NJ, New Jersey, I think that might be. Cumbria.
I don't really know
Cumbria. Cumbria, there we go. So that's... Is that Lake District?
I don't really know.
Is that northeast?
What that... And I know what TDS means, total dissolved solids, but I don't really... Can that be 250 of the same thing, or can that be 250? Is that 250 individual different things? If you see what I mean, I don't know.
I think I don't know the answer for sure, but I think it could be 250 individual things, or it could be 250 of one. The chances are no, it's because it's parts per million, isn't it? So it's just, and like you could have 10 TDS and it'd be absolutely perfect because it's something that's inert and it's not a problem. But because you don't know what you're getting, you want 0. California 300, 13 TDS in Oregon, USA. Atkins, you are the winner. No one's going to beat that. Yep, Lake District was the UK 120. Wow. So so there we go. 13, man. I mean, that's good stuff. I'd want to be remineralizing that before I drank it. Have you ever tried to drink REDI?
You're not meant to, are you?
You're not supposed to, but I made a cup of tea out of it because I'm British.
No,
that's what we do, and it's disgusting. It tastes horrible. Yeah, honestly, it tastes horrible.
Doesn't it just taste like nothing?
No, it tasted horrible. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't explain it, but it tastes horrible. It had a taste. TDS is anything with an electrical charge.
Yeah, don't know.
Anyway, silicates. Yeah, it could be anything. Anyway, why are you not supposed to drink it? I think it's. I don't know. It's like it's because it's got nothing in it.
It absorbs
just H2O. Yeah, exactly.
From your body.
Strips you out. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it absorbs things that are in your body, and then when you pee it out, it's taking the minerals out of you rather than, basically.
#science.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna have to crack on a little bit. We have to get a bit of a wiggle on. So I'm going to move on to my next one, and my next one is setting up, and this might be a surprise, setting up any new equipment.
I did think about that one earlier, actually. But
I hate it.
It's usually the computer side of it for me.
It's both. So if I've got quite a lot of refactory and Red Sea stuff, and I know how to set it up, and so it's easy. But if it's something new, I tried to set up a Seche return pump a couple of years ago, and the app, I just couldn't get the app to work, and I was tearing my hair out. That's why I'm bald.
That's what happened, was it?
Seche pump. That was it. But it was. I just couldn't get it to work. I spent ages googling it. I emailed them, showing them what I was doing in the app, and they emailed me back and said, they wanted me to do something else. I was like, do you know what? I don't need an app for a return pump. I'll just leave it. So I just left it. But so that's anything with a bad app. That's part of it.
Yeah.
And the GHL was another one. Generally very good quality and all that, but the app, oh god, that was one of the worst days of my life was setting up a GHL.
Telegram helped me. He did a very, very good video, and the first one was a pain, but with the help of the video. But after that, because I think I've got 3 of them, the other ones were much easier. Then it became more intuitive for me anyway. After I did the first one, but it's the same as anything. If you know, you know. If you see what I mean. So
yeah, but it's not just the tech side of it. It's actually physically, like if I'm going to have to, I'm probably going to get a new skimmer in a couple of months' time, the Red Sea one when that comes out.
Yeah,
and my skimmer is right at the back of my sump behind a load of stuff, and the cables everywhere, and it's just like I dread it. So when I get a new piece of equipment, I often sit on it for weeks.
Really?
Because I don't want to. I can't, like, when especially new lights, and I know I change them all the time. But like the changing lights is, oh god, especially when they're big as well. Like I might tend to go for big panels.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much effort. I hate it.
Does Lara help you do that, or do you just do it by yourself?
I'm one of these really stubborn blokes who I just don't want any help at all. I'm like, get off! I do it myself.
Well, no, I can just imagine she'd be like, not again. Why are we getting these lights down again?
Yeah, no. I'd rather do it myself because I'd rather just not. I'd just rather be in control because I'm a control freak. But just hate setting up equipment. I absolutely. And
a lady swimmer said you're a weirdo because that's the best part of the hobby, new kit.
In a way it is, but setting it up, like if I like when I change lights, which I do all the time, like that's one piece of equipment that if you change, instant difference, visual difference. And I mean, a lot of them are generally the same, but like when I switched to Kessels, I was like, oh, I've got shimmer again. That's so good, and it instantly looks wicked. So it's satisfying. I know you don't like that, but it gives you an instant benefit. But if I'm setting up I don't know, a dosing pump.
Yeah.
It don't make a difference. I don't like it's practical and I need it, but I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want to have to do it.
It's the things that need calibration when you set those up first that are a pain. Like any controller. Like I've never had an Apex, but I'm assuming the Triton one, the Trident's the same. Where you're testing, you have to make sure that it's dosing the correct amount. So you got to calibrate the dosing pumps first. Then you have to
the probes.
The probes. Yeah, no, because the thing is, after a month, all those probes are no longer calibrated.
This is so later on my list of things that I kind of hate but don't really hate is calibrating dosing pumps.
Yeah,
I just it's so easy, but I don't know why I just hate it. And calibrating pH probes, it's like
I'm not going to have any automated testing other than temperature on the new tank. None.
Not even alkalinity.
No.
Well, obviously not. But
I'm not going any corals. It's going to eat them all.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I wouldn't be without an alkalinity tester now.
I like testing them manually. I don't know what it is. It makes me feel something when you do it yourself.
It's more reassuring, I think.
Yes, that's what I like, and I want that reassurance. So
yeah, you've got control over it. So at the moment, I need a new pH probe on my KH keeper. I've just ordered one from my local fish shop.
Yeah,
and I say I need it. It's I don't know, a year old or something. So I think I probably need it. But actually, it's reading fine. But I suspect when I get the new pH probe that my readings will change quite significantly.
Well, then is it reading fine if they're going to change?
Well, the thing is, it's reading consistently. Because if it was reading all over the place, that's a problem. But if it's if it's constantly reading wrong, but it's reading wrong by half a pH all the time, half a pH, then that's fine. I don't care because I don't really care if my alkalinity. I think my alkalinity is about 8, 7.5. But if it's actually 6, 6.5. 7 or 9, I don't really care. That's fine as long as it's roughly the same. That's all.
I'd care if it was 6.
6, yeah. 6 is probably a bit low, but you know what I mean. Although anyway, but yeah. So I think that's the satisfaction, I suppose. But I've learned to trust alkalinity testers. I'm still skeptical of other stuff, of other technology like that. But alk testers, I'm all in on.
Mindy said this to me the other day. Look at the one below that. Look at Lincoln Town. It says
stroking a dog.
Yes, that. stroking is not a word that they use in America. That's like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Stroking.
it's because you pet a dog in America. Stroking is like a sexual thing, I think. And I didn't
As
realize
in, like,
that. As I was
I'm
like,
not going to do the hand gesture.
I'm like, Mindy, I'm just stroking a dog. She's like, what?
Like because in the UK we say stroke off. Like,
Yeah,
you use that? I
yeah,
think
but-
that's what it means.
No, we would stroke a dog. You'd stroke a dog, wouldn't you?
No, but if you say I'm not going to say it. If you were to stroke something off, if I said I'm going to go and stroke Ryan off,
Please don't say that again.
yeah, that means something over here. Anyway, we'll move.
There's
move
so
on.
much of these streams where you could cut them out of
Yeah.
context.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, but anyway, yes. So, but yeah,
Finding a dead fish. So I found 2 dead fish recently. I was gutted. I found a
Really?
dead royal grammer, and it wasn't natural causes because I'd only had it maybe 5 years, and they live
Yeah.
longer than that. And it wasn't that big. Have you ever seen a full size royal grammer?
yeah, they're like chunky.
Bloody massive, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're big. And this was half that size. So I don't think it was natural causes, but I don't know what caused it. But then I found, I think I mentioned this before, I had a jawfish 2 weeks ago that jumped out of my tank. I've got a lid on, of course, but it landed on the weir box.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've taken that weir box, that weir cover. I've taken the weir cover off
Yeah.
now. So if it were to land on there again, I'll just lose it. But
Did it die or it didn't die?
I found it crispy. It had been there for days.
You would
so-
think it would be able to like, you know when they like flip around. Yeah, you
Yeah.
would think that they would be like wrasses and they're on the floor sometimes. They're like flipping around. So
Yeah. But I think because on the Red Sea lids, the weir box covers, there's little finger holes.
yeah, too.
So I don't know if it got stuck in there or something, or and it's all covered in dry salt, so that must be pretty caustic for it. It was a horrible way to go though, so I felt quite bad for it. But anyway, so moving on. So setting up new equipment and cable management. I hate cable management. Do you do cable?
I get someone else to do it for me.
Exactly. Like, but it's just like, my cabinet is a mess of cables.
I am the worst person at either putting stuff in, or James, the person who designed the coral farm, he's actually coming on Saturday to help with the tank. He does everything absolutely perfectly.
That's
and then
good.
if I need to change something, I'm in there, just pull all the wires out, and then he'll come back and he'll be like, "What have you done?"
But so if you're doing it for a living and you're a professional,
Yeah,
and you do it properly. But if it's just for yourself, you're like,
yeah. I used to have
And
mine.
just-
It was literally just pushed into the back corner of the tank like a big
Yeah.
spider. It's probably a fire hazard.
I've made a better effort this time, but that just means it's like a 2 out of 10, not a 1 out of 10.
Oh, when
So,
James does it, it's like a 10 out of 10 usually.
yeah, I
So
like that. And but that's
So-
the thing. I would spend more time doing that if I was setting up a tank again, because it makes a difference. And you're right,
Yeah.
it probably is a fire hazard, because
Yeah, probably.
you're not supposed to kink cables. What electric cables are supposed to be straight,
yeah,
because they overheat, especially if you put them in a coil. Then it
Yeah.
creates some kind of weird stuff.
and mine was
But-
more of a rat's nest than a coil.
Yeah, exactly. Mine's the same. Velcro cable tidy. Yeah, but just excess cableage as well, because you'll have like 3 meters of cable on one piece of equipment, and you'll only need half a meter.
Yeah,
And it's like, so what the other? So 3/4 of people don't hate setting up new equipment, and they're in your camp where it's exciting, presumably.
I know. I actually don't think it's exciting. I don't know what it is. Like some people are excited to get a new return pump. It's just a return pump. It just puts. I'm excited about new coral, and I'm excited about new fish.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about a new wave maker. It's just you can't even see what it does. Really, I know you can see the different flow or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I get weirdly excited. Some things like a new return pump. I get weirdly excited about that.
why?
So I don't know, because I'm a dweeb, but I bought 2 Jekod return pumps, and that was like, I loved it. And actually, I'm likely to get a Red Sea one, and I'm
Yeah.
excited because it all links in with the app. So when you press pause, it
Yeah.
pauses the skimmer as well, so you don't have to press 2 buttons. And if that's not the most
When it
sad
goes
thing
on
in the
feed
world,
mode, you mean?
yeah. If that's not the saddest thing in the world to get excited
Yeah.
about, I don't know what it is. But that sort of thing I get excited about. And like power heads, when on my first tank, 3-foot tank, I used to have one MP4, one MP10,
Yeah.
and then I put a second one on.
Yeah.
And when I put the second one on, it was like, oh my God, how have all this crap came off the sand bed. I was like, it was
Of course.
amazing.
Yeah, but every tank I've had probably for the last 10 years has had 2 MP40s on it, one on either side.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Never had more, never had less.
Oh,
So,
really?
and that's that's what I mean. It's just done. So I don't get excited about. The only thing I might get excited about would be if I got. Even then, not really. You know that automated water tester with the needles that uses
the
that,
robot. Yeah, yeah.
That just looks cool, but I wouldn't. But I don't know. I'm not excited about a return pump or a wave maker or a new light or anything. They just do a job.
Generally, I'm not, but sometimes I get weirdly excited. I do like a bit of gadge.
New tanks, though, very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Especially a nice tank like yours. DJ switches, I love them. So I've got millions. I've got about 1 billion of them. You don't have them, do you? They're wicked. Love them. Gill heads versus coral heads versus fish heads. I'm a mix of the lot. I think I'm a mix of the lot. You're probably just a coral head.
No, see, it's interesting. Looking at that, I'm going, do I like fish or do I like coral more? And I'm actually, to some extent, leading more towards fish. I like fish. Like, if you think about it, I'm setting up a tank specifically so I can get just one fish I've always wanted. I'm never going to set up a tank just so I can get one coral I've always wanted. I'm basically sacrificing all coral so I must be more of a fish person than a coral person.
I tell you what, let's ask then, because it's a tough question. I think I'm more of a coral person, but I love if that was the case, I'd just have practical fish like wrasses and tangs.
Yeah.
But I have things like copper bands and scarlet hawkfish and angelfish. So let's ask. I think I'd probably. Oh God, it's close. I think I'm a coral person, but it's really close.
See, there's some corals I really, really want to have in a display tank, which I will not be able to put in that tank. I will not be able to put that half and half Trachophilia in there. I won't be able to put that lovely red and black Lobophilia.
Bloody thing.
So I must be more of a fish person. Or I'll get fed up after a year and then get rid of the angelfish.
There are some people who are like complete fish people. Like I've met people who own shops. And they just like, and the guy, the head of TMC, Brian Schaff, obsessed with fish, loves it, like so passionate about it. Corals doesn't seem, and I might be reading into this wrong, but didn't seem so interested in corals. Like obviously he's passionate about it, but fish, it's like you talk to him about fish, he loves it. And I've spoken to owners of other local fish shops where they talk to you about fish till you're blue in the face, and then you're like, oh, do you want to talk about corals? And they're like, what's a coral? So.
I can assure you, no fish shop owner is talking to you until they're blue in the face because they basically want to be left alone so they can do their work.
It takes about 2 minutes before you're blue in the face when you've been talking to me. So, so if you had to, would you say you're a fish person then? If I had to press you for an answer,
no, I could never. Oh, it's a tough one. No, I'm gonna say yeah. Well, it's difficult because remember, I already have all the corals I could possibly need.
Answer the question.
I don't know. I think I'm more of a coral person, but I do like fish too.
Okay. So we're gonna go with coral. Yeah, I think I am too, but I think it's close, and it's 60-40.
I could never have a fish only tank.
No, no.
That's the answer to your question. I could never have a fish only tank.
But I bet you wouldn't have a coral only tank either. Not just for like nutrient reasons, but it's the same. But yeah, for sure. Can we have a vote? Yes, you can. It is live at the moment. Hit the thumbs up, smash the thumbs up, and subscribe. I know there's one of you who isn't subscribed. I've seen
That's me.
I found you in it. Yeah, you're not subscribed. It really pisses me off. Anyway, we'll move on while that poll is running because that's a good one. I've got 2 more. What's yours? What's your next
one? Catching a fish. Catching a fish. Like, wait, was it even my turn?
Let's say yeah.
Okay.
I think I just did setting equipment up, didn't I?
Oh yeah, you did. Yes. So catching a fish. Yes. So especially if it's something like a damselfish or an angelfish, like a dwarf angel, pain. There is a way of doing it. Basically, you get a fish trap. You put it in there, you ignore it for a couple of days, you feed the fish in the fish trap only, and they get used to it, and then they're fine. But if you ever try and catch a fish, I'm telling you, Every other fish will go in that fish trap except the fish you want to catch.
Yeah, and you've got to sit by the trap with holding the thing for hours.
Yes.
Day after day after day.
Yes.
Evening after evening, yeah.
And it took me hours and hours to catch a coral beauty. That was the worst fish I've ever had to catch. But the other day I had to catch my fox face because it was eating a favia. Yes, fox faces are not reef safe, just so everyone knows. Definitely not. Oh yeah, you have one.
It's not that they're not reef safe, it's that they're a risk.
Yes. Yeah,
they are mostly reef safe, but there's a chance that they'll go crazy.
Well, I've never had success with them, and I've had like 6.
Okay,
and it's usually I always get big ones. It's the big ones which seem to do it.
Right.
Or they can be fine for a period of time, then they'll eat something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I put the trap in like I don't know 6 o'clock at night. Then a day didn't do anything. A day later, I went and fed the trap. Didn't do anything. A day later, it went straight in, so it wasn't too bad. But if you put the trap in there and then sit there, it won't go in.
Anything that eats algae, I find, goes in the trap quite quickly. And if all you need to do is put something that's got algae in it in the trap, and they'll go in.
Yeah.
My fox face goes anytime I put a trap in. He's like, "Oh, I'll have a look." Yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever had to catch?
Well, I mean, the worst. So I shut down a tank and I just couldn't catch a blenny. I had a Midas blenny, not a Midas blenny, a bicolor blenny.
Yeah,
could not catch him. And once I'd gone all out trying to catch him, and like the tank was basically just a couple of rocks. That was it.
Yeah.
And so it should have been easy. But once you've tried to catch him, it's not happening. He's like, "Fuck that! I'm not coming out then." And so I took the rock out.
Yeah.
And I put it on the side and waited for him to jump out. And it was like 20-second wait, but it felt like an hour. And I was like, please. It's so stressful for him. I hated it. But that was the worst thing for me. What about you?
That was the worst thing you had. What about your Harlequin tusk? Because you had one of those.
Yeah, bastard.
So that was easy to catch.
He took a few days, but he went in.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I put in the trap if I put something in for him. But the 2 fish that I've wanted to get out because I'm like, mate, this needs to go. The Harlequin tusk, he was just eating anything fishy.
Yeah.
And then my parrotfish, my koi wrasse, Scarus koi. Sorry,
that's interesting. I didn't know you had one of those.
Koi. Yeah. Because he started scraping all my SPS, my most expensive SPS.
Another reef safe fish.
Yeah. And it might just be that he was just trying to scrape the bases away. And apparently sometimes they do that. They just scrape the bases away to get to the algae underneath the coral.
Yeah.
But I was like, he was going for it. I was like, I'm not going to risk it. So I got rid of him. But they were a little bit tricky to catch, but they weren't a nightmare. My coal tang refused to go into a trap when I decided to sell him.
Yeah.
And I gave up. But he's been fine since then. But
you still got him.
Yeah. Whale sharks are easy to catch, apparently. So
there you go. We have the expert.
Filefish. I find filefish. Oh, firefish. Filefish. I've caught filefish easily because you just put an ACAN in there and they're like wicked. I like that.
Yeah.
But
firefish stay close to the rock.
Very timid. Yeah. Okay.
Do you think Jason feels like he's a celebrity here? Because his comments get posted every time.
Basically, he is. Yeah. Everybody knows him as Whalefish Guy.
Yeah.
What fish trap do you use?
I don't know. It came with a tank breakdown. It's quite a big one.
I use an Aquamedic fish trap. I think it's about 50 quid. It's a reasonable size, that kind of big.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Anyway, all right. So that was what I can't remember what that was. Oh, catching fish. Yeah. All right. I'm going to end the poll on whether or not people are a fish person or coral person. What do you reckon?
I'm going to say coral.
Yeah, 60% coral, 40% fish. And YouTube actually did the maths right for once.
It's an Aquamedic fish trap I'm using. I just googled it. So same
as me. Yeah. All right. Okay. So my next one. So I've got 3. I'm going to get to the big one. All right.
Okay.
But before I get to that, there are 3 that I've put in the I don't really like this, but it's just because I can't be bothered with it category. And they are calibrating dosing pumps, which we've done.
Yeah.
Can't be bothered to calibrate dosing pumps.
Yeah.
Ever. Hate it. And the Reef Factory app, when you can set it, when you calibrate it, you can say, remind me in a week, a month, 3 months.
Which you then ignore.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, wicked. 3 months. Yeah, great. Okay, I'll do it then. I'll be up for it. And it's like, no. So calibrating dosing pumps, can't stand that. cleaning return pumps.
I wouldn't know.
Exactly, because you've you've basically got to kill your system for however long.
Yeah.
And like disconnecting a pump from the plastic tubing.
Yeah.
And then reconnecting it. Oh God, don't like that. But and then the final one here, apart before we get on to my last big one, is picking up dropped corals. You ever drop a coral at the bottom of your tank?
Not really.
And it doesn't, because it doesn't have to. Not like if I've just gone and spent 200 quid on a torch.
Yeah,
that's getting picked up straight away. But it's like if I'm fragging something and I frag a bit off and it like snaps off, and I'm like, I'll get that later. And then 2 years later, it's still there. And there's just a load of.
There is something weird about that, where you notice something in your tank that you have to put your arm in to get, even if it's just an Asterina starfish. It will take you 5 seconds to put your arm in and grab it. You can't be bothered, can you? It's not that you can't be bothered. You don't want a wet arm.
And yet you'll do a thousand other things where it gets your arm wet. But that one, for whatever reason, whether it's because of the bottom and you'll get a wet armpit or whatever. And I've got a load of dead coral skeletons. Everyone's got it. At the bottom, and a load of other little fraggy bits of Tropic Thunder mostly. And I'm just like, I can't be bothered to go. And I've done it before where I've gone, I'm doing it this time. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to pick up all those bits. It's hard because you're like, hard. Oh, hang on, have I got it? You can't see properly.
Get a little net, you're like a little tiny net that's about this big. You get them for fresh water, and you can just get everything out easy.
But then it's in the sand bed. It's just a nightmare. And I managed to get a load of it up, but there's still a load more. Why not use a net?
Oh yeah, there you go. See,
aquarium grabber. Nah, you got to use your fingers because an aquarium grabber is it's just.
They're usually like this long with a claw that's like this big.
Yeah, you need the dexterity of your things. Yeah, a litter picker. But there we go. So those are my the other things that I'm like, oh guys, I don't hate them. I just can't be bothered with them. So before we get onto my main one, have you got any others?
Sticking down frag plugs. That's a pain in the ass.
Okay.
I hate sticking down frag plugs because it's, again, especially with the newer rock, it's not the same as the old real dry rock or real live rock. It's usually like smooth, and then you put something on it and it just doesn't stick very easily. Because I won't use putty. I hate putty. You
putty
use
doesn't.
Don't you?
Not very often, very rarely, in fact. Putty doesn't stick underwater, though, does it? It kind of does, but
don't know. Yeah, that's what people use it. And they like wedge it into rocks, don't they?
That's it. You've got to wedge it in. If you press it against a rock, it'll slide off. But if you wedge it in and grip it around stuff, that's how. And then it goes hard, and then it does stick. But
I use coral glue. Is what I use. Is that what you use as well?
Yeah. What do you use, the Ecotech one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I use the little Polyp Lab tubes. Have I got one? No, but I have actually, funnily enough. So these are they're quite expensive.
Yeah.
But you get like pots of like 30 of them. And I like that they're small because if the end goes dry, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And these actually last, they're only little and you get about 30 or whatever, but they last a surprising amount of time. But you obviously industrial scale, you use the massive Ecotech one, don't you?
Yeah, but even when you're putting that on the tank, you can sort of make a little ball without it actually, because it seals itself, and then you can push that in, and then makes your hands all dirty, and then you can puncture it with the coral, and then that
releases
water
the stickiness.
So but it's not easy to do. But it's still. So I just don't enjoy it that much.
So if you've got a big coral, that's difficult. But almost always, when I stick corals in place, it'll be frag size, and I'll put a super glue on the bottom of the frag plug, push it against the rock, hold it in place for about 1 minute, 2 minutes if I want to be sure, and that tends to stick.
There you go.
But putty is.
You heard it here first.
I've spent years messing around getting it wrong, and even then it's hard. But I tend to find. If you hold super glue, put a load on, smush it against the rock and hold it in place. If you just put it on and let go, it comes off. Yeah. If you hold it in place for long enough, most of the time it holds. And it's the same with frags. Like if I frag acros now and put it on a frag plug, I just put a dab of super glue on it, hold it underwater for 60 seconds, and then it grips.
Yeah.
And it'll hold up right. So, but yeah, putty is rubbish generally. Well, it's the wrong tool for that job, basically.
Yeah.
If it's better for bigger corals, because if they're heavy, you need to wedge the putty in between rocks to get like.
I also think it
mechanical
looks
grip.
ugly. I hate.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like a load of chewing gum around people's tanks.
Yeah, it does. Like under your desk at school.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Why is Ryan Prestige Reef and Alex is Alex not Reef Dork? Are you trying to boost your channel?
Why is
Ryan
Prestige Reef?
Yeah, your name shows as Prestige Reef. My name. You're trying to advertise. It's free advertising. I'm going to send you a bill, Ryan.
I've never even noticed that. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I know you can change your name at the beginning. I have always thought about changing it to something else just to see if you notice.
I'd notice, yeah.
You always introduce me as who I am, so that's why I always put it there.
Yeah, it's probably annoying. It's like an OCD thing. You're looking at it going, why are they different?
No. We should change yours to Reef Dork, so because this is a professional channel.
This is true. But I like that people know my name. I prefer. I find it weird when people call me Reef Dork. But, Alex, have you visited real reefs in Cheltenham? No, I've not been to Narm for a while, but I like Cheltenham. All right. What? So was that your last one? Catching fish?
I had sticking down leather corals, which is also a pain in the ass. All tank maintenance, all of them.
Yeah.
So, even with I try. I've had return pumps for 5 years. I never even maintained, not once, not a single time, and it was still completely fine. And even with the MP40s, I take the little things off and then let the fish eat all the algae and everything that's in it, and then put it back on, and then that's it. I don't do any cleaning, and then that's pretty much it. So,
all right,
I haven't got time to clean all those pumps, but I've got an hour and a half of
scrape algae.
Yeah, algae scraping.
Okay, well, in which case, so we'll come to my number one thing that I hate more than anything.
Is it this live stream every week?
With you, yeah. When I'm on my own or I've got a guest, it's just so much better.
Yeah.
Water changes.
Oh yes, I forgot about this.
I hate so today I've got an automatic water changer. So generally it's actually pretty easy. And if I didn't have that, it's a Refloat one, really good. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been doing water changes every week for 4 years. Today, I did a normal manual water change where I just had buckets. So I had I had the auto water changer filled up, but I decided to siphon out water into buckets and just put the new water back in. Oh God. And it's just like a 50-litre water change.
Yeah.
Which is what, 12 gallons, something like that. Oh my God, it's such a pain. And you've got to sit by the tank while it drains out, and then you've got to turn it, and you've got to make sure your pumps don't get exposed to air, and turn your skimmer off, and and then your temperature's going all over the place. You're looking confused, Ryan.
Well, Jay's just written, I've just noticed Ryan is selling coral for 1p, not as far as I know.
Well, everybody go on his website and buy the coral for a penny and put him out of business.
I hope it's not. So I can't imagine it's on there, but it could be.
But yeah, but water changes, Ryan. You're just going onto your website to make sure you're not getting out of business, aren't you?
No, I do. Like I don't think it's right. It could. I don't know. Maybe he's just encouraging everyone to go there.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I just hate water changes, and they're just so important. I'm on your website now, by the way. The cheapest one I've got is $9.99.
Yeah, that's fine. But I don't understand Jay's question. I love the corals I've bought from you. Is the lemonade Gonny on your latest video? That won't. Don't know. I'm not sure what that means. Message me so we don't have to slow the chat down. The thing. On eBay, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
No, I post them on eBay because I'm trying to get more local people. So that's why it's collection only. So I want people to come see me. I get lonely.
I'm being called a wimp, by the way, for water changes.
I love water changes. You're definitely a wimp.
You love why? Tell people why you love water changes.
Water changes, it's good exercise, therapeutic. I love the sound, that sloshing sound, the water as you pour it in.
Is it not because you have to turn 2 taps and that's it?
Oh yeah, that's true. I have to turn 2 taps. I have to turn 1 tap to drain the tank, and then 1 tank to fill it up, tap to fill up. And that is what I'm planning to do on the new tank as well. I'm sorry. There are certain things that once you stop doing them, you cannot go back, and water changes are one of them for me.
Yeah.
So
They're just
and probably you.
And yeah, Steve Webb says, Alex, your latest video says make sure you get in the habit of doing water changes. Absolutely. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying you should absolutely 100% do them every week without fail, 10%.
Yeah.
Just because it's important doesn't mean it's good fun.
Yeah.
And
but you don't have to do the lifting.
No, and this is but the reason. But what I think, because people often look for ways of doing running a tank without water changes, and one of Aaron's Aquarium's most popular videos was when he said how to run a tank without water changes, because people want to know that.
Yeah.
But I think the better way to do it is don't try to find ways to avoid doing water changes. Find ways to make water changes easier. Because if they're easy, which mine is, because I just plug it in and leave it for 2 hours and come back, I do it no problem. I never ever get to a weekend and think, oh, I got to do a water change. It's always just like, yep, cool, I'll do that. It's fine. And you're going to set up an auto water changer with Versas, I think.
I don't know how I'm doing it. I'm not sure. I only thought about it probably 2 hours before the stream. Because originally I wanted to hard plumb it somehow, but I'm not sure that's going to be a viable option.
Yeah. But yeah, hard plumb might not be, but because you got quite a long way to go from the source to your tank.
Yeah.
But so I think I'm right in saying that you hate water changes. You hate doing them.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. If you had to do it with buckets.
Oh no, I'm not doing it with buckets. It's like that's what I've decided. I'm so passionate. No, I'm not doing buckets. I'm so passionate about this topic. I'm literally going to drill through a hole in the brick wall to outside to run a pipe to get to the coral room so that I can make water change. This is what I mean. If you can put the effort in now, that might be one hard day where it might be one hard day and one like set of expenses which a normal tank wouldn't have. But think about how much more enjoyable the tank would be if it works.
Yeah.
And
if you can't be bothered with water changes, get a small tank. So that tank is about 40 liters after displacement. I've got a 2 liter jug. I put the 2 liter jug in, pull it out, pour it away, put it in again. That's 4 liters, 10%. Takes 2 minutes. Pour the new water in. Job done. So easy, so easy. And the mixing takes a bit of time, but not really.
Yeah,
but just
small tanks.
Oh yeah, this is true. But that's the thing. But if they're just so. And where was it? Jay said, "I agree so much with your top 3 on your last video, Alex. Never miss a weekly water change if you want success." And so the three things in that. And this is basically, the video was aimed at beginners. And I'm trying to say, if you do these 3 things, you're going to be in the top 10% of reefers who are successful.
Yeah.
Because so many people fail. And it's the 3 things were water changes every week, 10%.
Yeah.
Buy your own RADI filter, or at least find a really good quality source shop. And what was the third one? Test every week, so you know what's going on. And if you do those 3 things, it's not like they're a magic cure and suddenly everything's going to be wicked, but it's just like percentages. They will put you in the top 10% and will make life so much easier for you. And water changes as well. There are people who get by who have really nice tanks who don't do water changes, but it's not because they're not doing water changes. If you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was actually looking at your channel. I was interested to see how many views that video had.
It didn't do very well. This is the first 2-week video.
Yeah.
And I put a load of effort into it. I'm really happy.
Even I watched it, I think, didn't I?
I was really happy with it. I thought it was a good video, but it didn't do very well at all. And I was expecting it to do much better. But
don't worry, I gave you a shout out in my latest video, so don't you worry, you're going to get
views now. Yeah, taking the mick at me, I think so.
Yes.
And this is the thing. So Mogsy, you don't know Mogsy's Aquarium, you don't watch YouTubers, but there's Mogsy's Aquarium. He's got a really nice tank.
I do know of him. Yeah, I think from Instagram. I think I know.
Okay, so he's got a really nice tank, and he doesn't do water changes. It looks wicked, but it's like he's the exception.
Yeah,
you show me 100 people whose tanks don't do water changes and 100 people's tank who do water changes. I know which one's going to look better. And I see so many times people will comment saying, like on Facebook or whatever, I don't do water changes. My tank looks great. And I'm like, show me your tank.
Does it?
Because people always say that. And I'm like, I bet it bloody doesn't. And sometimes it will, but
yeah. I wonder if Mogsy started off doing water changes originally. Jay might know. I don't know.
Think he did, maybe.
because you can usually get away with not doing water changes after a long period of time. I think after a year or so, but I don't think most people. Well, I'm saying most people as if I actually know. I don't know, but I think it's much harder to do no water changes from the beginning as opposed to doing water changes at first and then stopping. I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think I believe that's true.
Have you ever tried to do no water changes?
No, because it's like for me, it's like holding a grenade, and you never know when you're going to need to let go of it.
So I tried because the ATI Essentials program that I run, that's the same as Triton. So actually, you're not supposed to do water changes, but and that was my plan. But I just found for a start I had a problem where one of my MP40s went rusty, and so I had a load of metals in there, and I wasn't doing water changes. If I was, it would have been less of a problem.
Of course,
But it's just I just don't like the idea. What was the other thing I was going to say about that? I can't remember. But yeah, just water changes. I hate doing them manually, but finding ways to make them easy is just brilliant. And that's why, so like the Refloat Auto Water Changer, mine was about 250 quid. It's quite expensive for what it is, but and if you were to do a Versa or a Neptune DOS auto water changer setup, it cost you probably more money, if anything, certainly a few hundred quid. But man, and the only problem with that is space. If you haven't got the space, it's harder. But if you've got the space, they're wicked.
I got the space probably. Because obviously, if it's in the coral farm, if I can find a way to get it from there, then there should be a way of doing it. I want to. My experience, the coral farm definitely ruined my experience of owning a normal tank. It just did. It ruined it
because it's so easy for you.
Probably the 19 panels. I don't want another 3.
Yeah.
But no, it's because it's so easy. I just turn one valve. Like I might go do a 400-liter water change after this live stream.
Yeah.
Who's going to go do it? And it will take
10 minutes.
It will take me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
But that's the way to do it, is to find ways to make it easy. Because if it's difficult, you won't do it. You'll do it for 6 months. And when you're like, oh, I love it, it's all new, and then you'll give up, and you'll be like, oh.
What I would really love to do, and I'm definitely not going to do it. So don't even tempt me. I'd like to drill the new tank. I would. I've drilled loads of tanks before. It's not that bad.
Yeah. It's one of those things that everyone says. It sounds hard. It's not.
I don't know if it's like reinforced glass or some because it's quite a big tank and it's rimless. So I don't know if it's special in some way or not, but. You'd have to have. I did all the coral farm tanks were drilled and they were all brand new, but I just think this feels a bit different.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't, and you're not going to be able to sell it. I don't suppose that's really a consideration, but
no, it's not. I literally just want it to be as easy as possible. And I don't know what it is. There's something about the auto water changer that doesn't really sit right with me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, the only thing the one I have, the Refloat.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about it is that it's basically it's a big vat of water that you pour a load of water into, and then it pumps it in between. It just circulates it between your tank and the system. So in theory, it's like pouring a load of water into your tank, stirring it all up, and then taking water out. So that is a proper water change.
Yeah.
But in practice, it's like, well, it's just a pump going from there to there. So is it actually mixing in? Is it just cycling the water, or is it actually mixing all this water in together? So I do want, and I've always wanted to do a test where I do something like a measure, like salinity or something.
Yeah.
On like a bare tub with a water changer on it, and see if it changes by 10%. Because I've always wondered, does it actually do an effective job?
You could do it with something on a much smaller scale, just as an experiment. You could do it with Ribena, like have 2 classes of Ribena, and then do a 10% out and 10% in of whatever it is, and see if they're the same color.
It would have to be something you can measure, because 10% diluted Ribena you might not be able to see. But if it was something,
sorry, I forgot you're colorblind, aren't you?
Exactly. But if it was something like salinity, so if you had salt water, so if I set up the auto water changer and then put like a vat of fresh water at the top, and then see what it does, you could measure that, and that would be accurate.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered to do it, but yeah, that's the only thing I do wonder. But I think it works.
I don't know. Yeah, that's the other thing. With the new tank, do I drain it down and then refill it up with new fresh water, so it's 100% new fresh water, or do I have it go in and out at the same time? When
Yeah.
this is what you're saying, where it's like mixing it together.
That's
So
the
I don't
thing.
know.
So if you, because I've thought about an auto water change setup with dosing pumps,
Yeah.
but it's like, well, if you're, so what do you do? Do you turn all your pumps off for an hour so it drains out 10% and then adds it back in? Or do you just have it so it just runs over the course of a day? And if you're doing that, aren't you having the same problem as I've got? So you're adding water and you're potentially removing that. I think if you get the inlet and outlet in the right place, it's not a problem. But
Also evaporation as well. How does that work? Because in theory, if you're adding water to the tank, the evaporation will either turn on, or if you're taking it off as well, your auto top up will turn on if you're taking it out. I know they're meant to be exactly the same, but those auto top ups are so sensitive.
Yeah, I've seen people doing it for long enough, and like Devon Reef Dudes does it.
Yeah,
and I think if it was a problem, he'd have abandoned it by now.
Yeah, true.
So I think it's one of those things that you can think of all sorts of reasons why it might not work, but actually when you get stuck in and do it, it's all right. So I would like to do that, and I'd like to do that on the tank to my left, because I've got to the end of the weekend and I haven't done a water change on that because I'll have to do it manually. So I'll do it tomorrow at lunch.
Hard life being you, isn't it?
It is a hard life being me, Ryan. It is. You're right. First off, Sam and Malik, first time messaging. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. Thank you, Alex. I've been afraid for years to start a saltwater tank. Following your £182 guide, I got a 50-litre tank and have started with loving the journey so far. Brilliant. Really glad to hear it. Just it sounds like an intimidating hobby from the outside, but you can't beat getting stuck in. You can research all you want, but getting stuck in is the way you're going to learn, and it's not as bad as you make it out to be. Sometimes it's a nightmare.
It all depends. It all comes down to knowledge and research. The more you do, the more you can face when you're at the beginning. So,
your favorite subject, Ryan? Equipment. So Red Sea have brought out a new ATO. What are my thoughts on it? So I had a chat with Red Sea last week about this. I'm not going to do a video on it on my main channel because I don't do that anymore. But I'll make a video on the Reef Dork X channel. I think it looks wicked. The only thing I would question with it, there's got loads of really good features. It looks cool. The only thing is the Tunzi, which is the go-to one, has got a reputation for reliability for years from thousands of people.
Yeah,
this is brand new.
Well, I'm using a Tunzi one.
I have 3 Tunzies. I do. Do you ever find because they're very reliable? Do you ever find they go wrong or do something that's funny?
No, one of them was giving me electric shock, but I had it for years, years and years. So I don't want to give them a bad name.
No.
It's like I literally think I must have had it for like 8 years and never maintained it. So the chances are there was something to do that I had done. But yeah, it was, and it wasn't a bad. When you put your hand in the tank, you can feel the electricity.
Stray voltage, yeah.
Yeah, that was what it was. But other than that, no, I've used them on every single tank ever.
Yeah, because what I find is when you turn it off and turn it back on again, even if there's water touching the sensor, it will pull fresh water through.
Yeah, but only for like a little tiny bit.
It doesn't matter, but it bothers me. It's like,
why?
Stop it! Stop putting fresh water into my tank. It doesn't need to be there. It doesn't matter at all. It's like
it's probably like 10 mils.
It's probably it might be 100 milliliters. It's not a lot at all. It doesn't matter. But it bothers me, and it's like, stop it. And every now and then, it's very rare, but every now and then, I've found on some of them, not all of them, the sensor will, like, the water level will drop, and it won't recognize it. It will be like, what? So, and then you wipe it down, and it's fine again.
Very, very rarely that has happened, because then you start hearing this. So the pump tells you, doesn't it?
No, but this is the sensor in the tank, as in your return pump section. So it should be dispensing fresh water, but it isn't.
So and then as the evaporation goes up, your
return pump makes that noise. Yes, exactly. And that's just because it's like it's a sensor that you've got to maintain. You've got to wipe it down occasionally. So that's fair enough. But that, like, I always get paranoid that that's going to happen when I'm on holiday.
This is. I know, obviously, we've come to an end, but I've just remembered one thing, and it's because of this. Having and this isn't really about maintenance. Having an RO barrel which is large enough to have a week's worth of water in it, for my opinion, is essential. Because if If it doesn't, because then you can top it up at the same day every week, so you never forget. If it runs out after every 3 days, or like on the fourth day, you hear because you'd forgotten.
Yeah, if it runs out on the weekend, it's wicked because you'll always do it. If it runs out on a Friday one week and then a Thursday the next week, completely.
That was one of the things I didn't like about the other tank, because it lasted for 5 days and I kept forgetting to fill it up. And all of a sudden I'll be watching TV. It's always at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm watching it, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Well, that's the one bad thing one of the bad things about Red Sea tanks is they come with a small freshwater reservoir, so it lasts like 3 days.
Yeah, if that.
There was one other question I wanted to post up. Where was it? How can I lower my pH? You don't want to lower your pH. If you think it's so high that it's a problem, your test result is probably wrong, I would say. And if lowering your pH is easy, stop dosing whatever it is you're dosing that raises pH. Kalkwasser, you might have a CO2 scrubber or whatever. But if you're not dosing anything like that, your pH is not going to be very high at all. I'm telling you. It's like scientifically impossible.
Tom's just said, how do you work out your rate of evaporation? Well, if you have a 2-litre tub and it lasts for 3.5 days, you need a 4-litre tub.
Yeah.
So that's as simple as that. Sometimes you just have to guess. But mine actually was even better. I used to have a 75-litre tub on my 1,000-litre tank, and that used to last, I think, 9 days. But I would refill it every 7 anyway, so there was no chance I was going to forget it.
Well, that's one good thing about the Red Sea one. It measures it. It tells you in the app how much it's using. Okay. And I would like to know that throughout. I don't know how accurate it is, but I would like to know that how much it fluctuates over the course of a year. And there's a couple of other questions. Firstly, how are those 3D printed Tunzi ATO stands? They are awesome. Love them. I have 3 on each of mine, and they're wicked. And I think that's about it. Because, I was expecting an equation.
And he wanted a more accurate thing. Like,
he's an engineer.
Tom, never come to me for accuracy. I wing everything.
But all you really need to do is, so what I do, I've worked out on this, I lose about 250 mil a day. And all you need to do is put a mark on your freshwater reservoir, come back a week later, put another mark to where it is, so from and to, and then measure how much it takes to fill up that container.
There you go. Look at that. That's like that's a proper answer. Not like it'll be fine.
Or if you're an engineer and you like maths and stuff, if you've got a square container, then you can just measure the distance and calculate it. Ooh. But I have a container that's a funny shape, so I couldn't calculate it. But it's really easy. And the refractory level keeper, that tells you how much water you add as well, which is good. But it doesn't come with it doesn't come with a pump.
Why do you want to know how much water you add?
It doesn't really matter. It's just interesting to know. And I like the idea of it.
Yeah, but it fluctuates. On a hot day, you will have more or less. Why does it matter?
I want to know that. I dose Kalkwasser, so actually it does matter. But then I dose less Kalkwasser than I lose on the worst day, so it doesn't matter. But I find it interesting. It doesn't matter. You don't need it. Like, it's like the Tunzi one is solid and reliable, and it's not like if you added a water meter to it, suddenly it would be twice as good.
Yeah,
you don't need it. It's just I like that sort of data. I find really interesting, and it's the sort of thing that you'll look at once every 6 months.
I'm a simple man, aren't I? I just want it to work. I don't need a fancy app.
Indeed. And so Jay said he loves his 3D printed Tunzi stand. I love I bought a 3D printer. They're just wicked. They're so useful for reef tanks. In fact,
I'm not even sure what they are. What is a 3D printed Tunzi? I know what Tunzi is, but what?
It's a 3D. It's
I know it
pump
keeps it off the floor, doesn't it?
Because because the pump always falls over. You can never get it to stand. It never stands, and it stands up straight now, so it draws right from the bottom.
Yes,
and that means that your reservoir lasts longer. They're wicked, and they're like a tenner. Although the guy who sells them on eBay has downloaded that you can. There's a free design website called Thingiverse for 3D printers, and people design it and share it. It's like a community of printers, and the guy on eBay is using that file, which you're not supposed to sell it. So I don't really approve of that, but it's 12 quid at the end of the day.
I don't really approve of that, but you bought it anyway.
I did, and I've designed and printed this was my own design.
Really?
Yeah. And it even says, if you can see it, Reef Dork. Ooh, Reef Dork. Look at that.
Oh, that looks
And
well
look
fancy.
look at all those. It's got the nitrate, the phosphate in the alk.
How much are you selling those for?
I'm not. I might sell them at some point when I set up my website, but at the moment, I'm not selling it.
When you making me one?
Do you want one?
Actually, I don't know. I look at it and go, actually, I want that. But would I actually ever use it? Like, I would, but I don't know.
I will print you one.
No, I don't want to give you a job to do.
No, it's fine. I love it. I have a Prusa Mini. It's wicked. I did get an Ender 3 to start with, but it was rubbish. Prusa
How do you
Mini is much
design
better.
stuff? I know what a 3D printer does, but how do you just go and make that?
CAD software. So it's really easy. Like, so that sort of stuff takes a bit of time because you got to measure it.
So it was the right like cups, so they fit into it
with a bit of trial and error. But I have a pair of digital calipers, so you measure stuff. And I've got another tool that measures the curve, so you know what curve it is.
Oh my god, you're such a nerd, aren't you? I just realized. I've
just realised that.
Yes. we only talk 2 hours every week.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and James has an Ender 3. He loves it. Oh, I just hated it. It's just the Prusa Mini, mate. Honestly, like it's self leveling. Oh, it's wicked.
I like the idea of one, but I just don't. I saw someone printing like toys for kids on Instagram. They were like, I can't remember what it was, but like Pokemon things or like the figurines. And I thought if you had one of those, and if your dad had one of those, and you're a kid, you could have every figurine you wanted. It didn't matter that you didn't buy it. It'd be so good. I
printed a Darth Vader helmet.
Did you?
Don't even like Star Wars.
I know one of Jamie's Coral Reef or Jamie's Reef. Yeah, he has one, and his kid has all these different Pokeballs that he's printed for him. But it must be so cheap compared to actually buying toys for your family.
It's dirt cheap. And actually, so funnily enough, you're not supposed to do this, but this is all Lego stuff. And I printed a Lego plate because I didn't have one of these, so I printed that plate because I needed it. So I put all my fish on it.
But how did you print that plate? How did you get something that was that accurate?
Someone else has designed it. So someone else, there's loads of stuff that other people design. So I've just stolen this design. That won't go back on now. So I've just stolen this guy's design. Well, not stolen it because you're allowed to. And so that's how I did that. But most stuff that's easy, you can design. It's quite easy. Anyway,
interesting. I might get one now. I know I can just go and steal other people's stuff.
They're wicked. And can you make custom stuff? Yeah, I've made loads of brackets for control boxes and stuff like Jekods. And at some point when I do get when I set up my website, I'll sell them. But it's going to be a while. Anyway, we have reached the end. He is a dork. I am a dork. We have reached the end. So Ryan, do you have any final words of wisdom that you want to impart? No final words
of wisdom. Oh, well, other than what I said earlier, this has made me realize that like extra effort at the beginning can save you hours and hours of time in the long run. It makes such a difference. So I'm actually going to go back to the drawing board and rethink about how I do this tank now, specifically because of this. Because I want to just see if I can make it even easier.
So when you said it was going to be wet in 2 weeks' time, the tank.
Oh, I don't guarantee that. But...
No. I was surprised. If I was you, I'd take a month. I'd take a week to do each job. So a week to aquascape it, a week to set up the equipment. Just take as much time as possible because it'll pay off. So I'm about that.
Well, the equipment, everything will all be set up on one day. But the reason I said 2 weeks, I was actually more thinking about getting all the tubes and everything. I had to order all the stuff we need. And James is coming 2 weeks in a row. That's why I said 2 weeks, but it could be longer than that. So, but I just want to. It's imperative that I do it right. And if anyone else is thinking about starting a new reef tank or upgrading or anything, fix all the problems.
But the trouble is, it's when you get it, it's so exciting. You're like, I want to get it set up now.
No, I know. But remember, I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually put an awful lot of thought, as I said to you the other day, in what animals will go in it, what fish will go in it or anything. But I know roughly what I want in terms for the system to be like, so it's easy.
If I was setting up my first ever tank again today, I would buy the first thing I would buy is an RODI filter, and I'd buy that. I'd buy that before I bought the tank, work it out for a couple of weeks, get it right, and then buy a tank. But the reality is, what you want to do is you think about it, then you want to go out and buy it all and set up straight away.
Yeah. I never bought water from a shop ever, not once.
No.
So
No, it's the way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining Ryan again, and also for selling such great corals from prestigereef.co.uk.
Oh, thank you.
And
I heard it's a very good coral farm. Very
for
good.
selling corals for a penny on eBay.
That's true, but only if you're local.
How do we search you? Are you Prestige Reef on eBay?
No, I'm just Ryan.
You're
Just Ryan.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, anyway.
There's literally one coral up, and I just post the same coral every week because people see it and then they come and pick it up, and then I've got a new customer. So
very good. Fair enough. All right. Well, anyway, thank you for joining, Ryan. And guys, as always, thank you for watching. Really good fun. I love this, and I love talking about getting fish peel on my fingers.
Nice.
And I'll catch you all next week. See you. Bye, guys.
See you later. Bye.